Booyah! Who's going live with a lot of positive energy? Who's going live? CPM, cost per 1,000. CPM is pretty much the worst business model since history of business models. CPM is cost per 1,000 impressions. If you're relying on CPM, your fortune is reading fudged up. Larry, do you have a New Year's resolutions to not say the word fuck? No. CPMs mean you have a fucked up business model that's very fucked. That's not good. CPM. People try to make a living selling advertising. This is funny shit I saw, which is, Larry, you're not even monetized. You're saying that I'm poor because I don't buy in a CPM? That's what you're saying, which CPM, cost per 1,000. You absolute retard, which is so true, right? It's so true. What is true? Cost per 1,000 is not a good way to make money. Cost per 1,000 is you're trying to make everybody happy. Your reward is going to be $2.50 per 1,000 reviews. Are you saying I'm going to need to get a certain number of subscribers, but then I'm going to need a certain number of views, and then I'm going to get monetized? What you're doing, instead of playing a game that is wired to have you not win, is recognize that this might be the most important video that you've ever watched, because CPM is not CPT. You tard. That's okay. You won't FAGFF. You should have just FAGR'd. Hard R fagger, which is fuck around and get rich. You should have just done that. You should have just done that, because now I've got an important question to ask you. Do you think that my last video was amazing? Do you remember what my last video was? I've got a free gift card from you to me if you can tell me the title of the last video. What was the last video? Do you remember? Because that business model is not CPM. And if it were CPM, it would be not $2.50. What's CPM? CPM is what Google pays you, cost per million. Cost per thousand, $2.50. Basically, you're getting paid pennies per view. Why? Because your video is aimless with no aim, while also not solving any problems. When you have a video that has no aim, no focus, you've got no shot. This is funny stuff that I saw on the internet, because I watched you. You have a good channel. I watched you. You also have a good channel. But you refusing to hunt for a problem is okay. Enjoy your CPMs. But don't try to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing when I'm trying to make $30,000 per 1,000 view. Oh, did I say $30,000 per 1,000 views? That was short. It isn't a magnitude higher. It's a magnitude's magnitude higher. This is your incorrect thought. This is funny shit that I saw on the internet, because I caught you. I caught you being remedial. And you even have me doing bird hands. Bird hands. When a girl does bird hands, nothing good happens. So I'm doing the double bird hands because I caught you. What did I catch you doing? I caught you trying to be everything to everybody. Do you see? This isn't a rant that I'm upset at. This is a energetic plea for you to understand what I understand, which is make it easy for yourself. Make it easy on yourself. Make your own life slightly easier by escaping the bad business model. I wanted to say escaping the matrix, but you want to be in the matrix. You're raising your hand, trying to escort me with you into Blue Pillville. I'm the mayor of Blue Pill. What's Blue Pill? Blue Pill is everything is just fine. Everything is just fine. Because actually, everything is fine. It's just the middle class just needs to be quadrumated. That's not my problem. That's just historic. What's quadrumated? Decimated is where you beat an army and you can't just let the army surrender and then you just let the other army just surrender. This isn't civil and proper war. This is war. When your enemy surrenders, they got to be enslaved, sure, but you need to decimate them too, because you can't just surrender and then be a slave. Because look at where we are right now. Being a slave, that's actually a 40% pay increase. Funny stuff I saw on the internet, because this is hilarious. Are you not laughing? I'm laughing. We're all laughing. Uh-oh, this message is held for review. When a woke and homosexual platform channel gets you blocked, you're going to need to re-ask the question slightly better. You got filtered. You got filtered. Oh, here's something that didn't pass the filters. Stupid ass. I should make you moderator. Enjoy being a moderator. Enjoy being a moderator. I welcome you to no longer be a stupid ass. Or are you calling me a stupid ass? Am I the ass? Are you the ass? Either way, you're moderating. Am I moderating? Are you moderating? Enjoy hunting, happy hunting, and canceling other people, or enjoy moderating your own brain. I very much look forward to what you're going to do with your newfound power within this platform. Funny stuff that I saw. Have you ever watched a Larry Chang? Do you guys do cardio today? Do you guys not believe in cardio? Do you think being obese is okay? Body positive. Body positive. Oh. How it comes in is also how it sounds going out. Funny stuff I saw on the internet. Funny stuff I saw on the internet. I saw something that reminded me of me. I saw something that reminded me of using LinkedIn as your dating app. Do you guys use dating apps? Do you guys use dating apps? Hat looks good. Hey, thanks, Mark. We're covering funny stuff that we saw on the internet. Oh, what are you guys using for dating apps? This is something that's funny is this. What if this YouTube Live were my dating app? What if this YouTube Live were my dating app? But remember, I don't need this as a dating app. So what if this were a dating app for the girl version of Larry Chang? Congratulations on 28 years of marriage. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations on 28 years of marriage. There's an earlier video. There's an earlier video. We talked about ways that women who are 22 to 28 years old can marry a rich guy. The amount of feedback I got was astronomical. It got me to introduce this video with monetization. Why monetization? How does it connect? Because the last video was on, hey, women 22 to 29 years old, do you want to marry a rich guy? Monetization, because why not? Because these are how the two are connected. Is my revenue from YouTube, it's not CPM. It's not, oh, let's try to get 30,000 subscribers and then we'll figure out monetization. No, it needs to be, each video needs to stand alone as a solution. Here's the problem. The middle class is experiencing a overt war. Problem. Money is fake. Problem. There's other stuff that's fake and gay. That's gay and fake. Problem. There's this window, it's called the Overton window. And what it is when the algorithm changes. Were you guys old enough to remember COVID? Were you guys old enough to remember COVID? Because during that time, you had to address the vaccine as coronavirus or beer virus or C19 or the vid or Raxvax or the jab. You had to have all these euphemisms. Why? Because suppressional words would suppress. Ditto SA. Not San Antonio, but also San Antonio, which is sexual assault, grooming. These words help you duck cancellation. These words are natural language processing within AI, Asian intelligence, to use AGI, Asian guy intelligence. Do you see how all of it used to be a landmine, and now how much of the content is pro World War II losers? Who lost World War II? And I'm not talking about the Japanese people who obviously lost World War II for trying to sack Nanking and then, oops, I attacked Pearl Harbor. There wasn't even a war declaration. You mischievous little Asian people. You mischievous little Asian people. But guess what? Larry Chang forgives you. Oh, did I just solve peace in the Middle East? I think I did. Because the funny thing that I saw on the internet was a Larry Chang video on how to marry rich people. Because it isn't just throwing a Hail Mary and marrying a rich person. It's about two sides to the Nash equilibrium. The Nash equilibrium. Hat hair. The Nash equilibrium is where men and women determine an equilibrium. But temporarily, everybody's out of sorts. Temporarily. That's why this video is called Funny Stuff That I Saw on the Internet. Funny stuff I saw on the internet. Who is Neil McCoy? I do play the guitar. Have you seen me play the guitar? Funny stuff I saw on the internet. In one paragraph, to get everybody caught up, because this video has gone in 10 directions, because I simultaneously want to stay on my script, but also want to respond to people's messages. That's why it's been in 5 different directions. Let's go in one uniform direction while taking a quarter step back. Might I say one quarter back? Because using LinkedIn as your dating app, that has to be some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Why? Because even if it doesn't work as a dating app, which it will, you get 2 better job offers, or since you're unemployed, if you're unemployed, you get social opportunities for your dingleberry, and you get job offers. That's why using LinkedIn as your dating app is hilarious. It's hilarious. Hi, Larry Ass. Hilarious. Hi, Larry Ass. Hilarious. Do you like how I'm doing it, whether or not you read right to left or left to right? I'm trying to be as accommodating as I can. These are questions to ask, which are kind of great questions. Here's the thing that I discovered that other people who are not direct friends have not yet discovered, which is being able to ask high quality questions conveys information about you to me. When you copy these questions that are high quality, people will throw themselves on you. This is why I am, of course, a pussy magnet, but transitioned to Vagina Whisperer. Vagina Whisperer, that's a funny video that I saw on the internet. Larry, aren't you the Vagina Whisperer? Focus. Questions to ask, which is, what makes you fun and successful? Think about that as a question. Why is that never asked of me? Why is that never asked of me? This message is held for review. When the fake woke gay filter filters you for being filtered, that means you have not passed the lowest bar for filters. Ask that question again, because this message is held for review. When your message gets held for review, that's a ginormous problem. A ginormous problem. I've brought a friend. Well, technically, I've brought 2 friends, because when your message is held for review by the filter, that means you're so fake and so fake or gay that the gay and fake filter has caused you to overflow the filter. This message is held for review. Yeah, not exactly. Not exactly. America avenged Nanking with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, because Nanking was the capital. If America actually had some balls and not just Jewish people that wanted to live in Tokyo, you should have bombed Tokyo. You should have bombed Tokyo. You should have bombed Tokyo. You should have bombed Tokyo so much so that way now that's on the table. I'm not saying that I'm asking better questions. I am saying that because I brought something with me. Doesn't my beaver look like a beaver? Hey, he's a platypus. He's a platypus. When your beaver looks like a platypus, you have a platypus. What is a platypus? It looks and walks like a beaver, but unlike a beaver that has beaver babies, a platypus lays an egg. It's a mammal that lays an egg. Here's another question that I asked, not which is, why does a platypus look like a beaver, lay eggs? Have you heard that you Chinese people are going to attack Taiwan? Have you heard this? I hear it all the time, and I'm asking myself, if China were going to attack somebody, why would you attack Taiwan? Like, that's not going to make anybody shake or quake. Not to say that you Chinese people are any good at fighting war, because I think, if my American calculations are correct, hasn't China lost every war since China's been involved in war? China's so bad at fighting war that China had to build a wall that I can see from my balcony if I used a telescope. Why am I asking these questions? I'm asking these questions because why does everybody keep saying Taiwan, Taiwan, Taiwan? Do you think the European countries or anything in the Middle East, if America were to attack New Mexico and just take it over, just a nighttime Pearl Harbor that shit, what if we took over New Mexico? What if we took it over? And then we said, Las Cruces, University of New Mexico State, you are now part of the NCAA. We have taken you over. You are now New Mexico, USA. Do you think Europe or the UK or Australia or Canada would say, oh my God, we better pay our bills to the United States? Did you just see the blitzkrieg that happened when the United States took over New Mexico? Ditto China to Taiwan. Nobody's going to care about that. Nobody is going to be impressed by that. I appreciate you guys in the LGBTQ TT community. Hugs out there. Hugs out there. I'm going to pin your message. I'm going to pin your message welcoming me to your gay community. I welcome your welcomes. But here's the thing I got to wonder, because you're throwing homosexual Hail Marys, is I have an upcoming video called Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain. Oh, the sequel to that is The Unbroken River, or Brokeback Mountain and Resort. Which one do you guys like better? Which one do you guys like better? Because when people say John Wang, I have a venture capital case study. John Wang, ha 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 ha. John Wang, very innovative joke. It's so innovative that I actually have a friend named John Wang. This is how you know I am honorary Chinese status. To finish off the Taiwan. To finish off Taiwan. Is that a new place? It should be. Taiwan. I could write a country song about that. Oh, John Wang. He is a real dude. He went to University of Michigan, engineering. Have I told you about John Wang? This is what happens when you're a Chinese guy and you look at me and you're like, I wish I could be Chinese guy looking like that. Look at him, all tall and shit. Look at him. You see, when John Wang was nice to me, I helped him sell a company for $1 billion because his name's John Wang and because he's nice. This message is held for review. When your filters are set to gay and fake, and you get snared in the fake gay filter, how fake and gay must you be? So redo the message and then try to get past the filter, because I'm not saying that YouTube is super LGBT. I'm not going to say that, because let's hope that you know. If you know, you know. Questions to ask. Why are my messages getting filtered by YouTube's woke filter? That's because your messages are just that bad. To finish the Chaiwan, I keep calling it Chaiwan. I got to write that down. What did I say? What was the joke I said after Chaiwan? Was it Taiwan? What was the joke after Brokeback Mountain? What's a sequel to Brokeback Mountain that's funny? Is it The Unbroken River? Kind of like Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge. What's the sequential thing atop of Brokeback Mountain? How about Brokeback Mountain and Resort? The stream's about funny shit that we saw on the internet, while in this scenario, you're not listening to jokes, you're helping me write a joke, which is when a heckler says Brokeback Mountain, should I say Brokeback Mountain and Resort? What's funny? Is that funny to you? It can't be the Unbroken River, because it's too far downstream. We need to have humor that people immediately get. So if it's Brokeback Mountain and Country Club, Brokeback Mountain, what's a sequel to Brokeback Mountain? Let's brainstorm. First person to get a gift card gets to send me a gift card. Let's play this game called Brokeback Mountain. In Resort? Oh, these are all jokes. These are all jokes that all are hilarious and true. Oh man, these are jokes? You were joking? You should definitely do politics instead. I'm good. I'm a National Geographic in 1970, China wanting the South China Sea Company. I think they would do it before Taiwan. What if China decides to nuke Tokyo? That would send a message. I don't think that I forgive Japan for Pearl Harbor, even though Japan's kind of asking for it. You know what Japan's like? Japan is kind of like white and black people. So confident with the shit that they talk. So confident. They have nothing to back it up except for an American Navy. That's Japanese people talking shit. Have you seen Japanese people visit Pearl Harbor? Still won't say sorry. Look at Nagasaki or Hiroshima. They didn't say sorry. They lost like 200,000 people, which is why America, if it were smart, you should have just bombed Tokyo and then called it a day. And then laid out 4 nukes. Like 2 nukes, it may not have been enough. And I know that people think that 2 was too many. But when you win the war one time and the country's like, no, I still haven't learned my lesson, because Hiroshima, that was probably just an accident. Do it again. And then America's like, hello, you should probably surrender. Because I don't see China nuking Taiwan anytime soon. This is why. Maybe you don't know any Chinese people. I have honorary Chinese status. I don't think I know any Chinese people who go over to their uncle's house. Because when you go over to your uncle's house, your uncle says, do you want to stay for lunch? Do you want to stay for dinner? What do you want of mine? Whatever you want, you can have. No, uncle, I don't want your watch. No, uncle, I don't want to drive your sports car. I'm too big. No, uncle, I just kind of want to hang out. Oh, well, anytime you want to come back over, the cousins love you. Why do I want to own my uncle's house? Because I can go over anytime. Why do I want to take care of my uncle's house by owning it? I have all the benefits of owning it. I can go over anytime I want. Does that make sense to you? Because you don't want to own it. You want your uncle to own it, and you want your uncle to just give you whatever he wants to give you, because I don't want anything from my uncle. Japan is something else. Japan is kind of like that person who has a giant bully who is their sugar daddy. That's why the yen carry trade is going to screw everybody. Thanks for coming to my comedy session / TED Talk / hey, handsome. To you back, buddy. Hey, handsome, to you back. Not true, buddy. They have a good navy. Oh, Japan has a good navy? Pfft. Begging for a nuke right up the butthole. That's not sex talk. That's war talk. They have a good navy. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Sure. Uh-huh. With the naval base called the USS Wright Brothers. Do you know that there's no aircraft carrier called the USS Orville Wright? Do you know that there's no American aircraft carrier called the USS Orville Wright? No Orville, no Wilbur. Why? Not to sound like the only aerospace engineer asking questions. Aerospace engineering is where you land your ass on the moon, and then later, black people, mostly black people, some white people, mostly black people say, white people, you guys never made it to the moon. That shit was fake. This is what I ask my black friends. No, you are not my first black friend. I have a lot of black friends. I have a lot of black friends. I have a lot of black friends. Oh, nothing can be more pimp than doing a drive-by over Tokyo. If you know the Enola Gay reference that I'm referencing. Drive-by, like a crop dust drive-by, not like a I'm going to drive by and shit your bed, that kind of drive-by. Although, that's kind of funny. Answer the question, you guys. Brokeback Mountain and Resort? Brokeback Mountain and Towers? What is it, Brokeback Mountain? Brokeback Mountain and Beehive? Beehive? What is it, Brokeback Mountain? What is it, Brokeback Mountain? What's the sequel to Ang Lee's film, which I still haven't watched yet? I need to watch it. Because if I watched it, I'd figure out a sequel. Nobody wants to play the sequel game called Brokeback Mountain and Residences. Questions to ask. Who's your mentor? In the last video, we talked about how women can get married to multi-millionaires 22 to 28 years old. These are questions to ask to make sure that you're not getting a lemon. These are questions to ask to make sure you are not getting a fake millionaire because you can't do a balance check, meaning you can't look up how much money they have, checking account balances. That's okay that you can't. These are ways to get the balance. You're welcome. These are questions to ask as a woman to determine if the guy that you're talking to is actually a real life cash millionaire who's 24 years old to 32 years old. You are 22 years old to 28 years old. Why? Because what better way to get your shots shooting than to let guys who are shooting their shot be real players? Question to ask them: who is your mentor? A guy who doesn't have a mentor is a brokey. If you ask a question, who's your mentor, and they get visibly upset, that's because they don't have a mentor, they don't have a dad, they don't have a shot. That's why you ask. That's why you ask. Is if you were trying to figure out if they are somewhat successful, that's why you ask. Is you say, hey, who's your mentor? If they say that the village mentored them, think of it as the village bicycle. Do you want to own the village bicycle? You don't. Everybody rides the village bicycle. Here's another question to ask, which is, what happened to you when you made your first $1 million? The reason you ask that is they might say, I don't have it. Or they could say a lie. Or they can say, this is what happened. Because you're asking empowering questions, you're going to get a great guy. Why? Because when you ask the questions, what happened when you made your first $1 million? If they have made their first $1 million, they will tell you exactly where they were, what they were thinking. If they're a man, it's okay if you're a lesbian, but actually, if you're a lesbian dating a woman's actually never made $1 million. I know. I wish I would know because I am the vagina whisperer. So if you're a woman asking a man, hey, where were you when you made your first $1 million? Ditto if you're a man asking a woman, because when a woman is asked this, she would probably say to the prior question, who's your mentor? The woman would say, Larry Chang, in which case you don't need to ask, hey, what happened when you made your first $1 million? You already know the answer, which is she hung out with Larry Chang. But you're asking a guy, hey, what happened when you made your first $1 million? A guy who plans on making $1 million will be honest and say, I haven't made and saved $1 million yet, but I plan to by 2026 or 2027 at the very latest. By asking that question, you're being honest about the fact that you're a gold digger. When you're honest about being a gold digger, you're ahead of 90% of women because you had enough confidence to actually show up for date number one. You see, you're doing sexual market value fraud by posting pictures of yourself elongated. In your pictures, you look 40 pounds lighter. But you had the confidence to show up borderline obese. You had the confidence to show up to say body positive, and the guy was so desperate that he stayed even though you showed up 50 pounds heavier. Me, she might show up 55 pounds heavier because if she's 6 foot, a 6 foot girl who shows up 200 pounds isn't even obese. She's just big boned. I'm down with that. I mean, it's going to be bone crushing, not boner crushing. It's going to be a big bone scenario. What happened when you made your first $1 million? The question is the question is so high quality because a guy who has no plan or no job or no hope, they'll just start making up lies or attacking you by porcupining. I say all this genius stuff, and you say, mod me, bro? That's some entitled female stuff. I realize that your boobs are amazing, but me blocking you hurts me much more than it hurts you. I realize that your giant, nice boobs entitle you to a level of treatment that is higher. But in this arena, let's try to be equal, where we don't want to take our 10 hotness, because I get it. You're 24, you graduated ASU, you have a master's, you're trying to take over Shelby Sapp. I get it, I get it, I get it. I get it. I get it in that I'm your gateway. I get it. But when you don't connect to what I'm saying, you can't moderate your own brain. Why do you want to moderate other people? Do you see that? Do you not see that? I see it. Maybe you don't see it, and that's okay that you don't see it because you'll eventually see it. And then realizing that this message is held for review. Again, your message can't clear the lowest hurdles since hurdling or low. Oh, goodness. Young lady, you're going to come in and tell me about bankruptcy? Somebody didn't study bankruptcy law with Jay Westbrook. That's one. J is in before the letter K. Jay Westbrook as in East River. Jay Westbrook. Bankruptcy. Ditto Irv Grosbeck, Chapter 17. Ditto Mark McCormack. Ditto Larry Chang, bankruptcy law. Ditto Carl Opedal. Ditto Marty Pitchinson. Because you said something retarded, I'm going to read you the retarded thing while redacting your girl alias. Young lady says, do like most millionaires borrow as much as they can and invest, then file bankruptcy? Period. That should be a question. Most billionaires have filed bankruptcy many times. What you're not understanding is this question, which I will ask you. How many millions are in 1 billion? That's a legit question. That statement is correct. But answer this question is how many millions are in 1 billion? And when you don't answer it, I know that you're using ChatGPT. Because I again ask you, it's been 13 seconds. How many millions are in 1 billion? This is the problem, is you're using million and billion interchangeably. You're also not understanding lecture 11, Stram GT 353. Oh, normally I'm not this well prepared. Quoting literal book, literal chapter, literal verse. Your second statement is correct, but the first question that you have a poverty mindset with scarcity. This is why I ask, what happened when you made $1 million? Because if I were to, because I brought that up, and then you said something that was parentheses. Larry, I will never make $1 million because young lady said, do like most millionaires borrow as much as you can and invest, period, then file bankruptcy, period. Many billionaires have filed bankruptcy many times. This costs $3. Here are your problems. This is me doing a turnaround. You have not met Larry the Starfish. Deeply understanding capital knowledge, deeply understanding credit knowledge, deeply understanding venture capital knowledge, deeply understanding Chinese knowledge. I'm an honorary Chinese person as the most Caucasian person in America. Turnarounds. You're thinking that you need to borrow millions to make millions, but you're not hunting for a problem. The question that they later followed up with is the 10% reserve requirement. It's actually now a 0% reserve requirement, but now your brain is in such a pretzel that you are hezzy on how many millions are in a billion. Instead of worrying about 1,000 million, focus on 0.6 million. Oh my God, this video is genius. You see, the question of what happened to you when you made $1 million, that person that made $1 million, they were surprised that they got there, unless you feel like you're 40 years old and then have constipated money. Are you retired? Are you unemployed? I don't want to know these things. I just know these things. Because what happened when you made $1 million usually is, I started a company like a joke. I got to 600K and oops, I made $1 million. When you have the million billion and the emotion of your pinned comment, it's so emotional where you think that anybody and everybody who makes $1 billion, you think that they're all fraudulent. And I would say that the number of billionaires that have ever filed bankruptcy is 1 or 2% or less than that. You see, the reason that you think you're so emotional about the money, you're so emotional about the money because you saw and you see the Trump family doing their bankruptcy maneuver, which is what? The Trump family bankruptcy maneuver, remember, you're talking with Larry Chang. There's an I before the A in Chang. As the number one most competent person within bankruptcy law, bankruptcy avoidance, I took the time to call a company Duck9 with Dickie the Duck. Let me go grab Dickie the Duck real quick. Oh, it's Dickie the Duck. Duck, deeply understanding credit knowledge. 9 is charge off. I understand bankruptcy and charge off at a level that allows you to make money without money. Your brain got caught in a doom loop of the emotion of billions and millions. Bullet point number 6, you're upset that billionaires made that much money because they stood next to the money printer. Million, billion. When you're thinking about bankruptcy and bankruptcy as wealth growth, you're only getting a part of the picture, but that part of the picture makes you demoralized. That's why I knew that you were unemployed as a young lady or as a hapless 40-year-old with just as many eggs as somebody who is menopausal. Because the way that you say millions and billions indicates that that's a game that you can't even think to play. The game, of course, is making money. The game, of course, is how this video started off which is CPM, cost per 1,000. You think that my channel isn't monetized because you can't see that this video, it solves the integrated question, which is, these are questions to ask to determine if a person is rich or not. And you showed me how rich you are because I showed you the question to ask, and then you told me the millions, billions. It's the pinned comment still. You're also correct about the bank's reserve requirements, but you're a blue pill or purple pill. What's a purple pill? It's you're thinking about going red pill, but you're mostly blue pill because you think that taxing a billionaire just might help us get out of this doom loop. I don't need you to comment about it, but know that those two comments show me your trajectory. Because we're looking at where are you now, where do you plan on going? Because you got to meet Larry Chang. It feels like I'm telling you things that no one's ever told you before. I'm now curious to see what you're going to do with this information. Because the right answer to what am I going to do is question 4. Once I make $1 million, Larry, I'm not going to lose it. When you ask, hey, Larry, I go to Stanford right now. Can we connect? I want to ask you this question. This will help me determine if we're going to connect. How did you feel when you surpassed your father, current Stanford student? How did you feel when you surpassed your father? Remember, you're talking with Dickie. Remember, Dickie the Duck has a friend named Larry the Starfish. I'm currently a Stanford student. Can we connect? Sure, Ali Bakhti. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly? Ali Back4 TQ? Back 40Q? Bag 40Q? How did it feel when you surpassed your father? How did it feel? You can fail to answer the question, and you can tell me that you are a robot. You are a robot because you can't hear something and then answer the question. Enjoy the side chat. Enjoy the side. Enjoy the side. Enjoy the side chat. Because the question that you can't answer, Stanford student, I'm a current Stanford student. Can we connect? How did you feel when you surpassed your father? There you go. There you go. Message retracted. Good job. Because you feel like you need to chat perfectly. Nobody's really going to hold you accountable except for me. I'm going to hold you accountable because your side chitter chatter shows that you can't answer basic questions. You're probably feeling anxiety right now. This is just an accountable space. I laugh because I wanted to say safe space. To me, this is incredibly safe with accountability. But accountability, it gets kind of rough. That's hilarious. Oh, my last video was helping women find rich men to get divorced from in the future. Were you in that video? Because this is question number 6. Question 5 was women asking men to make sure that men were millionaires, multi-millionaires, which is, how did you feel when you surpassed your father? because someone here is lying about whether or not they go to Stanford. Lies! Lies! Because you can't answer the question because you're not at Stanford. Because the question, which is, how did you feel when you surpassed your father? Or you go to Stanford, but you got in and your dad took off. You're raised by a single mom. I know. I know. How well do I know you? How well do I know you? I'm not trying to show off with how much I know. I'm trying to show you how important it is to read, because I'm not reading between the lines. I'm reading everybody's comment. This is why I don't like CPM. Look, there's a minuscule number of people here. This is going to be the most valuable video you've ever come across, because question 6, second ask, who are your mentors? Who are your mentors? And it's okay that you bolted. It's okay. It's okay that you bolted. It's okay that you bolted. Next time, you can moderate. Next time you can moderate. Upgrading you to moderator. Welcome. Welcome. I'm interested to see what you're going to do as moderator. I hope good things. I hope good things. Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. Banks only have 10% of the money they have to loan out at the bank. If they get over 10% of return on loan, they've made money. Somebody doesn't understand collateral. Someone doesn't understand default. At least you ace the question of how many millions or in a billion. You correctly answered 1,000. So they're going to want 100% of that fake money back. That's why they call it a bank. Because why did that one bank robber rob banks? Because that's where the money is. Why did banks set up a bank? So they can rob everybody. That's the joke. It's hilarious. They asked a bank robber, Willie Sutton, hey, why do you rob banks? Willie Sutton says, because that's where the money is. It's in the bank. Then they asked a banker, why did you start a bank? And then that ethnicity said, because I want to rob everybody. By that ethnicity, I meant Chinese people. Wink face. Today is day number 51 of hashtag 55 days of Gemini 3 at SF Super Bowl. Second ask, question 6. Who are your mentors? When you're a woman and you ask a man who their mentors are, if they can rifle off 3 mentors in a hurry, they have at least $10 million. Let me repeat that math. This is probably some of the best dating interrogation and empowerment. Because if they list off 3 mentors and they have not made $10 million, check your watch. Check your watch, because it's January 21, 2026. Check your watch. Check your watch. Because if they can rifle off 3 mentors, they're going to have $10 million by 2028, 1/28/28. This is the calendar. This is venture capital. This is 3 6'2" plus Chinese guys. Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. This is 3 more tall VCs John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. Adam Crampton, although he just graduated Stanford, give him a year and a half, he's going to be a full-time Baltimore Orioles shortstop, part-time VC. Have I mentioned that there are 3 VCs who are 6'2" plus, who are Chinese? Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. Have I mentioned another grouping of 6'2" plus VCs? John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. I am going to say that all 7 Asian dudes, Chinese dudes, Adam Crampton's what? 50% Taiwanese, 75% Taiwanese, whatever the percentage. It's 7 Chinese dudes, Asian dudes, whatever. No, not whatever. Asian's bad. It's Chinese people. 7 Chinese dudes, they all look the same. And it's not all the Chinese dudes who are 6'2" that look the same. It's all the hot Chinese dudes who are 6'2" and weigh 200 plus pounds. Me, I'm 6'5", I weigh 235. All the hot ones who are super attractive, they all look the same. Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang, John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. Adam Crampton is a future VC. Can't stop, won't stop, Adam Crampton at shortstop. Because when you ask a man, who are your mentors? And they're like, who are my mentors? I have 3 great mentors. They are my board of advisors. They are begging to buy stock from me. These are my 3 mentors. Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. Cheng. Could you imagine if a guy named Larry Chang said, oh yeah, I have a mentor, Larry Chang. That's actually funny. I'm going to do that next time. Could you imagine if Steve Kerr said, oh, who are my mentors? Phil Jackson, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, head coach of Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr. I forget who his mentors are, but they're all in Cleveland. I had to look them up because he was giving a press conference. He gave a 12-second press conference, and he mentioned 3 mentors. I'm like, who the fuck are these random people? And Steve Kerr, why didn't you say Larry Chang? Not joking, he shouldn't say Larry Chang because I'm not his mentor. But Steve Kerr, I think he thought I was Tim Chang because Tim Chang, his wife went to University of Arizona. Hot. I can say this because I look like Tim Chang. But his wife, okay, hot. His wife and Steve Kerr's wife went to University of Arizona together. And so when Steve Kerr gave me his phone number, I wonder if he thought he was giving it to Tim Chang. I wonder. A little bit gay, right? I mean, I think John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. I think Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. I mean, I do think they're really good. I think I'm really good looking. I think that does make me, I mean, I didn't say no homo. So, I mean, you got to wonder, right? Because I think especially Tim Chang and John Teo and that Ed Chen, I even get them all mixed up, like it matters. It's all one big, gorgeous blur. This is actually what I should say when women are throwing vagina. I should just say, I'm John Teo, add me on LinkedIn. Have you guys seen this? Because the name of this video, it's called Funny Shit I Saw on YouTube. Funny Shit I Saw on YouTube. Funny shit I saw on YouTube. Fernando Mendoza, Christian. I fucking Tom Brady letting out a Christian war cry of let's fucking go. Funny shit I saw on the internet. There's this video. It's called Let's Use LinkedIn as Our Dating App. That's what I'm going to do with my overflow vagina, which is add me on LinkedIn. I'm John Teo. Funny shit I saw on the internet. Funny shit I saw on the internet. I don't even understand what that means. How much money do you need for respect? Just curious on your view as a VC. What? What? What you need for respect is, can you make $1? Actually, you thought it was going to be like $400,000. It's $1. It's $1. You a handsome man. Young lady, thank you. Young lady, thank you. I appreciate you. How much money do you need for respect? That would be $1. Can you make $1? Because most people, they just beg, borrow, steal money. They borrow money. They beg, borrow, steal money. That's part of borrow. Which is, if you can make $1, I would sell these 15 questions as an ebook. Questions to ask to make sure you're dealing with a high net worth man, which is number next, which is, if you were to use LinkedIn as your dating app, how Fernando Mendoza would you be yelling in front of Tom Brady, I took the time to make this football game funny. You see, this is technical content that I'm delivering. I took the time to make it funny. Why is it technical? It's technical because look at how in the weeds I got with bankruptcy, with Dickie the Duck here, deeply understanding credit knowledge, Larry the Starfish with doing turnarounds. Some of this content's pretty technical. And then some people will say, oh, he went in 7 different directions. I'm just talking to you as if you're intelligent. It might take you a third viewing, but it's definitely going to take you pen and paper. Because if you're just casually listening in the background, this video is going to go behind a paywall, and then you're going to be like, why is this video behind a paywall? Why don't you just value a free video when it's in front of you? Why don't you monetize this video? Because if you can't figure out how to charge somebody $800 for this video, you did not think that this video was worth almost $1,000. And maybe those numbers are too specific for you because you're not intimidated by that. Now you get it, because I'm not trying to play the CPM game, the cost per 1,000. What is cost per 1,000? I'm not trying to delegate making money to YouTube, because YouTube is for poor people. It's kind of like asking Reddit to convert. The only thing that Reddit's doing to convert is convert heterosexual people into homosexual people. That's the business model. That's the ass model. That's the stand-up comedy. Because what I said was, clip it, because that was hilarious and genius. Because the conversion that you and I are trying to do is we're trying to take something that was $0 and make more than $1. Maybe $800 is more money than your father made his entire life, because he's from a third world armpit and you're trying to make it better by saying, oh, but India and Pakistan, they're in Asia. Please address us as Asians. Or you're in a Middle Eastern hellhole. We're part of Asia. Can you call us Asians? You're trying to ratchet up and attach yourself to Chinese people, trying to coattail. I've definitely seen funny, unreal, crazy act. It's very difficult for real to find real. Thank you. That's compliment number 2. Slow the F down. Young lady, have you ever paid 2 compliments in a row? You could be a dude. You could be a dude. Either way, all we have are compliments and a collaboration. Oh my God. What is your dream car? This tells you everything about everything. Because here's my answer for a dream car. I wanted a Corvette when I graduated engineering school from the University of Illinois. I started Duck 9. Have you met Dickie the Duck? He's quite amazing. I ended up making enough money to buy myself 40,000 Corvettes. And then I came to this conclusion. Rich dudes like me die in a sports car. Because everyone's like, ooh, do you really want to buy a red sports car? I'm like, yeah. I really want one. I could buy any one I want. And then they're like, the insurance isn't as high as you would think. I'm like, why? Well, kind of like a motorcycle, if you get in a wreck, you're dead. I'm like, I don't want to die. I made near 7 figures in my business over 3 years, but lost significant amounts before starting at Stanford. Flower to bad investments. How do I prevent investors from dismissing me on future startups? 1, do you even know who Larry Chang is? Obviously you don't. There's an I before the A. Maybe you know Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. Maybe you also don't know John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. John Teo, Larry Chang, this Larry Chang, not the other Larry Chang. There's not a lot of Larry Changs. We started this thing called reverse VC. Really the only thing that matters is, can you go from $0 to $1? Because here's a question that you're not going to have an answer to, which is not good, which is, have you been able to make $600,000 on YouTube? Stanford? Because I'm guessing that you go to GSB, and if you are paying $275,000, do you go to GSB? Are you paying $275,000? Because that's not going to help your case, because VCs are going to know that you're in business school. Tari Milberger says, hello. Tari, how are you? It's good to see you. We're talking about questions to ask. We're about to make somebody $600K. I can't help it. When I help you make $600K, feel free to fuck me out of a Rolex that only costs $50K. You're going to send me a box for the Rolex, and I'm probably not even going to open it. The address to send me a Rolex after you make $600K is Duck 9. Quack, quack, Dickie the Duck. 2021 Midwest Road, 3rd floor, Oak Brook, Illinois, 60521. Oak like the tree, brook like the little river. Ali from GSB, do we have a deal? I make you $600K before this video ends. I'm at Stanford now. No need to text me at 650-283-8008. No need to text me. because you're hezzy on my Rolex. Are you Pakistani? Oh, not Indian, not Pakistani. With a name like Ali. Are you a girl named Ali? Here's a third question that I've asked. I was close. Good job being Persian. Good job being Persian. Are you a female? Don't answer that question. I don't want to know. Are you a GSB? Third ask. The reason I ask these things is if you're going to Stanford, why did you not get the money ROI tuition before going to Stanford? Again, I ask, why are you risking money to go to Stanford before you pay Stanford? Well, say thank you, and I'm going to get you $650K because GSB upcoming in fall. For the FedEx tracking number for a Daytona is $90K. You can just buy me a shitty stainless watch. I'm not even going to open the box. I'm just going to weigh it and then test it for explosives. And then also not open it because that's what I do with free shit that I get. 2021 Midwest Road, Oak Brook, Illinois, 60521. Because here's the question I want to ask you, which is, let's say a VC helps you. Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang. John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. So let's say a VC does help you and you make 180 mil after preferences, meaning the VC's got the first 880 mil, you're left with a paltry 180. After taxes, you're getting 40 mil. And then you're probably going to get suckered into marrying somebody, so she gets 25 mil, you get 15. Congratulations, you're a unicorn. You get to keep $11 million. That's why you're going to get me a stainless Rolex. Oh, I'm hilarious. So say thank you. Why are you deleting messages? Oh my God. Why are you deleting messages? Did you just delete messages? What you don't want to do is you don't want to have small IQ syndrome and delete messages. But I don't need the messages, but it goes to your state of mind, which is I might make a mistake. I need better network. I need to pivot. I will give you my personal Rolex. No. It needs to come in a box that I can re-gift because I don't want your shitty Rolex. And I definitely don't want the Rolex off your wrist. What's wrong with you, dude? My cell phone number is live, but I don't need you to text me. This is what we're doing. This is what you don't have, which you should have. Shame on you. Because I'm going to ask you this question, and you're not going to have an answer for it. Are you ready? The question I'm going to ask you is, what three classes were you hoping to spend $275,000 on? Because what's your dream car is another question. Let's go over all the questions and then feel free to answer the two questions, which is, what three classes do you want to take? Plus, what is your dream car? I'm going to go over all these questions so that way I can pay some bills, because someone didn't think I could do a video shorter than 3 hours. We're not even 80 minutes in. This is me making money. These are the questions to ask to determine if a guy is actually filthy fucking rich. What is your dream car? The answer is, my dream car is you sending me an Uber Black. That's my dream. Because name one version of fuck you money. Most people, if they can't name 10 versions of fuck you money, they have a bad relationship with money. They only have one version of fuck you money. Question: what friends have you lost from high school because you're so fucking rich? Or college because you got so fucking rich? Do you have friends who are 20 plus years older than you? Or are you a loser where all your friends are plus or minus 2 years your age? If you can't make a friend, you're never going to be able to make a mentor. Question. Remember, these are all questions to determine as a woman if a guy is rich or will be rich. Question. How much of your wealth touches your iPhone? If 100% of their wealth touches their iPhone, they're poor. Or they're rich and about to lose all their money because all their money is touching their iPhone. Question, are you into crypto? If they're not into crypto, they're poor. How many hours did you study Bitcoin for? If the number of hours that they study Bitcoin for is under 70, they're also poor. Or you are talking to a boomer. Boomers can be rich without studying Bitcoin. How many hours did you study Bitcoin? If people say 1, 2, or 5, that means their engineering degree is from a college that a VC, Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang, that a VC, John Tao, Tim Chang, Larry Chang, and Steve Jurvetson. Do you like how I give Steve Jurvetson honorary Chinese status? Ditto Roelof Botha, Sequoia. Ditto LinkedIn. It's actually my dating app. Okay, so I read your response, and Jesus Christ, this is the simplest question ever, which is, what 3 classes do you want to take at Stanford GSB? Because none of those classes, that those sound like USC. Do you go to USC for undergrad? The Viterbi Garage, Startup Garage, LOL. Healthcare compliance platform. Did you go to UC Irvine? Say thank you. The reason I know you're going to fuck me on the Rolex is the fact that you can't say thank you. I'm about to give you not 13 Yahtzees one morning. I'm about to give you 650K because I'm literally fucking around and making you rich. FAGR is fuck around, get rich. FAGFF is fuck around, get free food. FAGFV is fuck around and get a free vacation, which is, are you going to be in Palo Alto February 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Because, again, the question, what fucking classes at fucking Graduate School of Business, and I'm not talking about the original one at University of Chicago. I'm talking about the knockoff GSB, your Reach College. What other colleges were you thinking about before you went to GSB? Because biodesign, is that a GSB class? They don't call Startup Garage, they call it StartX. Like, your language is either USC or UC Irvine. Are you SoCal? Because I'm about to drop literally another 800 grand on top of the 650K. You have questions, or I have questions. You're hesitant. What classes do you want to take at G fucking S fucking B? That's the school that you allegedly got into, and I know you are in that school. Why? Because you're an entitled lazy cunt that didn't even figure out what classes you want to take. You're just going to show up and hope for the best. Did I just give you another 900K? That's 650K, a 700K, and 900K. And you might think that I just have a lot of competence, because here are the questions. This is a non sequitur because I'm getting through all the questions because you're not answering my question yet. But I know you are in GSB. Why? Because I know the syllabus better than you know. And you got in. Well, I mean, I got in too, but I got recruited. Did I call SoCal? Did I call SoCal? Did I call SoCal? Did I call SoCal? The D school is not the B school. Fifth ask. This is the fifth time I've asked. What fucking classes at Graduate School of Business do you want to fucking take? You retard. Did you study engineering at UC Irvine or USC? Can you see that I make everybody rich? And all the Persian and Pakistani and Indian people, they're kind of hesitant. Why? Because the white patriarchy, we rule for one reason. Do you know what that reason is? Gratitude. Because if I would have met Larry Chang before all that money flew out the door, are you on some kind of Iranian scholarship where your government, did your parents bankrupt the nation and then you got free money or something? Because that's what I hear about you Middle Eastern people. Get it? I'm from the Middle East. I'm from the Middle East of America, biatch. The Middle East of America. This is how you know that the Middle East sucks. Oh, this is how you know. Because I'm from Illinois, bitch. I'm from the Middle East of America. You call it the Middle West, but last time I checked, Colorado, that's the Middle West. You know that the Middle East sucks when I'm from a Middle Eastern state in America, but we can't call it the Middle East. Why? Because you're from a hellhole called the Middle East. Larry, you're hilarious. Is there any truth to the fact that you might be ambassador to Israel, the Netherlands, and Saudi Arabia in the same way that Silicon Valley is annexed by Texas and Miami? Again, I ask. Seventh ask, SoCal. You went to somewhere shitty. You didn't go to UCLA. You went to UC Irvine. It's somewhere shitty. I hate shitty undergrad with the reach school of Stanford. I hate that combo. Do you know why I hate that combo? Because every hot girl who goes to GSB, who throws vagina my way, she always went to like NC fucking State chemical engineering or some like UC Irvine biology health initiatives. Oh, we'll just take the minority girl, blah, blah, blah. No T20 school, but it is based on the East Coast. A tier 3 Ivy, I take it. Cool. I get it. It's the cliche, I don't want to go to UCLA, University of Spoiled Children is too rough. 17th ask, Mother Scratcher, what do you want to learn at Stanford GSB? You're one of those entitled Ivy League shit college, tier 3 Ivy. Not Penn. Penn's tier 2 shit. What's a tier 3 Ivy? Brown. You went to Brown. Oh my God. Do they even have biology at Brown? What classes do you want to take at GSB? And if you don't know, just say, I don't know, because this is why this video is going to be amazing. 650K plus 700K plus 900K. you're going to have to get me a stainless Rolex. Do you like how I didn't slide scale my Rolex? Question: are all your friends plus or minus 2 years your age? Question: how much of your wealth touches your iPhone? Question: what does your dad think of you going to Stanford GSB? Did you tell me already? Everything that you said was in the design school because nothing of what you said. Oh, there you go. Do you want me to list out class numbers for you? Because I've got an API. It's gonna wow you. Screenshot, you're welcome. MGT corporate valuation 6443. PELBO 6531. Financial data analytics for private equity 6534. Did you screenshot those? Do you need them again? Do you see why this video is just pure money incarnate? You're welcome. You're welcome. What did your dad think? What did your dad think when you got in? What did your dad think? Okay. I'm finishing these questions. This is our game plan. This is our game plan. This is our game plan. Edition 5. If you don't write this stuff down, I will laugh at you. I will laugh at you because you should prepay the Rolex, but I don't want you to because you might fuck it up and then you'll show up at Stanford and go, I prepaid Larry a Rolex and I fucked shit up. I'm not even on Twitter. You should get Twitter, but just happy, but I don't think he understands the level. Yeah. Who cares about your dad? Let's go. You want to order 5 of these. It's called Palm Pals from Amazon. You want to get 5 of these. Why? Because I screenshotted investment management and entrepreneurial finance. I called your class numbers. You got to get 5 of these. You got to get 5 of these. While if you don't take paper notes and text me the fact that you took paper notes, I will know that you've lost your ROI for Stanford before Stanford. That's the goal of this, which is return on investment, because it took me 15 tries to get you to paste copy 3 classes. You don't even know the class numbers. That's a problem. It's not a problematic problem, but it is problematic. What is the biggest amount of money that you lost in a business transaction? Because if you haven't lost a mill or 3, you don't have any money. Why am I laughing? Because I lost money and I asked my dad, I was like, hey dad, somebody screwed me out of money. And he goes, just the one time? I'm like, what do you mean just the one time? He's like, just the one time? I'm like, yeah, just the one time. He's like, if you're not getting screwed twice per year, are you even important enough? Because the question you want to ask is, what's the biggest amount of money that somebody has screwed you out of? Next question. Have you ever passed a marshmallow test? Next question. These are the questions that women should ask to determine if a man has millions and billions. Not emotionally. Do you have 2 passports? The reason I laugh at that is I'm asking the US government why I can't have 3 driver's licenses, or at least 3 citizenships, or at least 2 citizenships to 2 states. Let me get this straight. You could be a legislator and get paid my US tax dollars, and you're a citizen of 2 countries? I mean, weird. But here's a worse question, which is I pay taxes in multiple cities. Shouldn't I be able to be a citizen of more than one state? Well, no, Larry. How does that make any sense? I have to be taxed but not represented? Why can't I be a citizen of 2 United States where you're letting rulers of the country who write laws have a citizenship to another country? What are you going to do? I don't know what the 200K is. You're going to need to provide context because you're kind of behind. Think about it. I'm giving a monologue and I'm ahead of you. Like, it should be where you're putting me behind. I don't know what 2 to 300K is. Question. And also, it needs to be sequitur. Question. Have you had sex with 100 plus women? The reason this question's funny is I don't get how men who haven't had sex, once the money comes, they're going to literally get fucked. Because if a man has not had sex with, let's say, 10 women or 20 women, when they get $100 million, they're going to have sex with 100 women. That's just how the math works. Are you understanding now everything about everything? Because you want to ask a man, hey, have you had sex with 100 women? Because some guys who went to a D1 college and played a sport, after they make $100 million, they're going to be like, I've already had sex with 100 women, so after I get all that money, I'm pretty fine just fucking only my wife. Ding, 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 ding. That's the winner circle. I don't know what 2 to 300K is. Stop multitasking. What is wrong with you, dude? Stop multitasking. You're trying to do 2 things. This is every Stanford GSB student who graduates and then somehow manages to go bankrupt. Because you're trying to do 2 things. Maybe you don't think that this is important enough. This is why free vice is the worst vice. Were you popular in high school? Oh. You see, when the nerd who is not popular in high school finally does make $50 million, they're going to be off on a vagina bender. A bender of just vagina. A vagina bender. Why? Because they weren't popular in high school. Why? Because they were not popular in high school. When they're finally popular, they're going to just tear through vagina because they've never been popular before. It's a man's ego changing job or wealth, change in geographic location, change in personal relationships, change in personal relationships dating, and change in possessions. Those are the 5 ego warning signals of a man. Have you ever used Hotel Tonight as financial consent? Are you multitasking right now? You're so behind on questions. Ever experienced inaccurate sexual assault charge? If they're saying that they're wealthy and they've never experienced a inaccurate SA charge, they're not actually wealthy. When a guy who's got millions of dollars, or the worst in Silicon Valley, which is a single-digit number of millions of dollars, one bad date causes you to lose half of your wealth, basically half your stack. Basically half your stack. You're so slow. You're ADD. You're ADD and multitasking. But that's okay. I'm going to drop the knowledge and then put it behind a paywall, which is there's this class, it's your second year. It's called Strategic Management 353. You see, you have to ace all the classes, including investment management. No. Answer the questions. Be honest, you're multitasking. That's what Stanford GSB does. This is why your average MBA is not valued by VCs. Hey, you asked the question, oh, 7 figures over 3 years. That's not good. What you also want to do, which is counterintuitive, is you want to go to Stanford GSB, but not list it on your LinkedIn. Not lead off with, oh, hey, random YouTube guy. By the way, did I tell you I go to Stanford GSB? And then list out design school courses that you could have taken on fucking YouTube. Because after you ace the class, investment management and entrepreneurial finance, ace the class, angel and venture capital financing for entrepreneurs and investors, and ace the class, the economics of the PE industry. This is altogether, I can also tell that you've taken 0 notes because you've never asked me one time, hey, can you repeat the blah, blah, blah? Can you also talk about farms or horses, cowboys? Looking, sure. Farming, and a fucking mule will have more value than 5 Stanford MBAs. Let me repeat that. 2 stuffed animals, more valuable than a Stanford MBA. Let me repeat that. 1 mule, 1 ranch is worth 10 Stanford GSBs. Fingers crossed. Here you go. You're welcome. Hashtag OFGPFSE. I'll repeat that. Hashtag OFGPFSE. It's Opal Financial Group, Public Funds Summit East. Opal Financial Group, OFG, PFSE. Those 3 classes, they culminate in LP dashboard. That's limited partner dashboard. Here's the thing that is incredibly unpopular, but worth $650K plus $700K plus $900K. Do you see why I negotiated for a Rolex? And then when I went from $650K to an extra 1.6 mil, I kept it at a stainless Rolex. Why? Because you've never said thank you. You're Middle Eastern. You're not the kind of person to say thank you like the top of the food chain. Who's at the top of the food chain, Larry? That would be us Caucasian people. There is no such thing as the patriarchy. You went to a completely liberal school that taught you that the Caucasian patriarchy is bad. But when you say the Caucasian patriarchy is bad, what you're really saying is white Caucasian males like Larry Chang wired the world with gratitude. Let me repeat that. That's a clip. Caucasian males, there's no patriarchy. It's just that Caucasian males are the only ones that are thankful. I don't understand why you're questioning the retarded questions. You're retarded. Why are you referring to yourself as Caucasian? What? Oh my God. Somebody doesn't know that I shipped a PhD thesis non-matriculated over at Harvard. It's called The Fifth Epiphany. When you drop a Harvard PhD thesis at your safety school, Are you a dual admit? Wait a minute. You're not a dual admit. How do you get into Stanford but get rejected by Harvard? That makes no sense. Actually, that makes all the sense that you're not a dual admit. Because I know you applied to Harvard. What the fudge, dude? You just revealed to me in your question, why are you referring to yourself as a Caucasian? You are now telling me that you applied to Harvard. They said no. You're lucky because Stanford's 10 times better of a school. You did apply to HBS. There's no way you applied to Stanford and did not apply to HBS. Be honest, you got rejected. Come on. Come on. You told me you got rejected because you said, why are you referring to yourself as Caucasian? What? If you look up Silicon Valley guy, that's Larry Chang. If you look up Caucasian male, that's also Larry Chang. You got rejected. Where did you get rejected that was a shittier college than Stanford? Because you told me via your question, there is no HBS in Pakistan. That's why I'm here, kids. Brokeback Mountain and residences. Brokeback Mountain and residences. So, you're arguing with me. I'm trying to give you money, and you're telling me that I'm not Caucasian. Tell me one Persian or Iraqi, because that shit's all the Euphrates River. You guys are in the cradle of life, the cradle of civilization. Maybe you don't know about the Tigris. Maybe you don't fucking know about the Euphrates. But your people mismanaged the best two rivers in the history of rivers. The Tigris and the Euphrates make the Yangtze and the Nile, okay, feel like ghetto. You got rejected from Wharton? You got rejected from Wharton. There's no way. Wharton lets everybody in. There's no way you got rejected from Wharton. There's no way. Although Middle Eastern people love Wharton. Did you apply to the San Francisco Wharton? Okay. This is... So, I love Pear VC on High Street, but getting lucky on the PayPal investment because you own a rug shop is some Persian shit reverse justifying the fact that their main VC thesis, Pear VC, is running a rug shop, And I repeat, Pear VC and the 15% of GSB professors are Persian. We are so far from the geography that you are describing. You're trying to argue with me, and I just showed you Pear VC's investment thesis at 165 University Avenue. Currently, their office is on High Street. Maybe you don't know about Google, Pear VC. Maybe you don't know about PayPal, Pear VC. Because when you take a VC stock deal to subsidize real estate, you're going to need to continue that arbitrage. That arbitrage, it's not continuing right now. It feels like we're having an argument. There is no way you got rejected at Wharton. There's just no way. But do you see why after you do make... Actually, here's the other thing, is that because we're having this argument, someone else who's a Caucasian is going to pick up the 650K, the 700K, and the 900K, and they're going to send me 3 Submariners. Why are they going to send me 3? Because I'm going to give you $4 million, but you're going to be too stubborn to take it because you're Persian first. You're trying to gatekeep me out of Caucasian status. There is no more thankful of a person than Larry Chang coming into Stanford GSB for $3. You see, I didn't pay $3 for Stanford GSB. I paid millions and millions of dollars after Stanford GSB gave it to me for $3. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the textbook. It's called New Ventures and the Entrepreneur. Where is the $4 million? Here you go. I'm going to bake your noodle. I don't want your Rolex because you tried to say that I'm not white. What is wrong with you, dude? Oh, I forget. Your ethnicity is what's wrong with you. I forget. Who is more Persian than you? That would be me. Do you not get it? Because I am Per VC. This is what I'm talking about. You see, Per VC, they had to take a lease hit. Lease, like a rental on retail space. Taking a hit on lease is a capital investment to get them their ROI, their LPVC, their TVPI, their total value paid in. Total value paid in. Total value of capital, paid in capital. TVPI is a ratio. What Per VC and GSB doesn't understand, it's sitting over at approximately 200 Hamilton, 180 Hamilton, 240 Hamilton. Maybe you stayed at Nobu. Maybe you don't quite know if I am the smartest person that is the third institution of Silicon Valley. Maybe your brain's in a pretzel because I called myself more Persian than the guy who started, what's that incubator above another rug shop? Oriental Rugs, the best kind of rugs, which is, it's down in San Jose. Plug and play. Because 200 Hamilton, 180 Hamilton, 240 Hamilton, that's Nobu Hotel. It's about to get less connected as I connect the dots. It's about to temporarily be more convoluted before you digest all of it, which is why when you have multiple things that are forms of media going on, because you turning on the TV, that's your disconnect, because your father is disconnected, because if you're going to GSB and he doesn't understand it, that's because there's some kind of disconnect. I don't want to know if it's only your mom that raised you. I don't want to know that. But you are checking all the boxes. Let's remove the personal stuff. Let me forgive you for the arguments because you're hurting me from helping you. This is why I'm recording this. Why? Because there's going to be a Caucasian dude 2 years younger than you from a way shittier undergrad. You went to a top 20 school. This dude is going to be coming in from fucking Duke, well outside of the top 50. Way outside of the top 50, Caucasian, super thankful, 3 blank blank watches, 2 tones, whatever. This is what we're talking about. Hashtag Opal Financial Group, Public Funds Summit East. Hashtag StramGT 353. Strategic Management 353. StramGT 353. What you don't know about Stanford, that I know about Stanford, is they're starting to put stuff behind a paywall. remember, this is a safe space for you as an LGBTQ TT. This is a safe space for you. Because Stram GT 353. Stuff is going behind a paywall. Stuff at Stanford used to be open source, the best of the best of the best. Here's the thing that you don't know, because I pay attention to syllabus, I pay attention to class deltas. That's a change. You know, delta, you have a biology chem background for undergrad, a delta. Good job. Good job. Why is it the rando coming up with Stram GT 353? It's cool that you're multitasking. I can feel that you're multitasking. So, what they don't teach you at Stanford Business School, they used to teach you at Stanford Business School. Why is that significant and hilarious? Because if you can't make $4 million with what I said, you have a major problem. And I'm talking about you should make that money before fall. Do you know who Jeremy Stoppelman is? Jeremy Stoppelman actually worked at 165 University Avenue. That's downtown Palo Alto. University Avenue, it turns into Palm Drive. What dorm are you going to live in when you go to GSB? Are you going to live at Stern? No, what? You're talking like a hot girl with like some, I have no idea what the no is. So stop multitasking and type, because there's no context for your no. Like I'm supposed to remember, because you're literally like 8 minutes behind. That's okay. This video is for a Caucasian man who's 3 years younger than you and 5 times more thankful, from a top 500 college, well outside of the top 500, the University of Illinois. You're going to get beaten out by some Urbana-Champaign retard, and it's going to be where you went to a top 20 undergrad, you went to a top 1 college for GSB, and some rando community college, Parkland Community College, backdoors into UIUC, backdoors into Stanford, is going to be your lecturer. I don't know what you're talking about. You're so slow. It needs to be where each thing that you say, pretend like I'm a billionaire and I'm retarded. Pretend like I have no idea what you're talking about. Pretend like you're talking to a small dog. Do you like that? Big Short, baby. Big Short. I don't know if you're Caucasian. What is wrong with you, dude? Oh, I know why. You've got minority baggage. I set down my minority baggage. You could intern all the Japanese people you want. You know what? If I'm McCarthy or whatever, I would put all those Japanese people in prison too, because you fucking bombed Pearl Harbor, bitches. You bombed Pearl Harbor. You bombed Pearl Harbor. You bombed Pearl Harbor. You going into a country club? Brokeback Mountain and Country Club. Howdy. Howdy. Irv Grousbeck. Say thank you, because I'm about to pay some bills. Whose bills I'm paying? Everybody's bills. Irv Grousbeck, he used to teach Search Fund. What they don't teach you at Stanford Business School, they used to teach you at Stanford Business School. If you can't make $4 million on this front run of the classes that I've pinned, you are not even trying. What are we talking about? I'm brand new here. What we're talking about is questions to ask to make sure that the guy's rich. This is directly because of all the positive text I got, 650-283-8008, about, oh my God, that video that you did on how to marry a millionaire as a 22 to 28-year-old woman. That video, Larry, it was genius. Thank you. Are you sure that you've got a millionaire on the hook? No. Why? What should I know? These are the questions to ask to determine if the guy is rich already or is going to be rich. Which is 1, have you ever experienced a inaccurate sexual assault charge? 2, have you ever used Hotel Tonight as financial consent for sex? 3, were you popular in high school? 4, have you had sex with 100 plus women? 5, do you have 2 passports? 6, can you pass this marshmallow test? 7, what's the biggest amount of money that you've ever lost in a business deal? 8, how many hours did you study Bitcoin? 9, are you in a crypto? If they're wealthy and they're not in a crypto, they didn't study Bitcoin, there's something wrong, they're not actually wealthy. Question, how much of your wealth touches your iPhone? If 100% of your wealth touches your iPhone, you're not that wealthy. Or you are wealthy, you're about to get ripped. Are all your friends plus or minus 2 years your age? 11, do you have friends that are 20 plus years older? 12, what friends have you lost from high school? Why did you lose them? 13, name 5 versions of fuck you money. If they can't name 8 versions of fuck you money and they only have 1 version of fuck you money, they don't have any money and they also will never get any money. Can you name some versions of fuck you money? That question is genius. That question's worth a lot. Because when you sniff out the fact that they only have 1 version of fuck you money, if you can help as a woman, if you can ask this question so that way they go from 1 version of fuck you money to 2 versions of fuck you money, you haven't doubled them. You've actually quintupled them because they went from 0 to 1. New brain. Because the guy who wrote 0 to 1, he's neurodivergent, pansexual. He actually did not go 0 to 1, nor did he explain it at 165 University. I know, this video is amazing. What happened emotionally in your mind when you made $1 million? When you made $1 million, how did you lose it? So when you say, what do you consider fuck you money? I consider 650 versions of fuck you money. Have you never been to a Larry Chang video? Because I'm saying fuck you to you because I'm giving some random dude named Ali $4 million. That's what I consider fuck you. And I say fuck you because you should be saying thank you. Because when you say, what do you consider fuck you money? You're thinking that I'm going to say a dollar figure. Because this is what I consider fuck you money to be for you. For you, fuck you money would be $1. Why $1? Because $1 is infinitely more dollars because you're stuck at $0. So when you go from $0 to $1, the next step is $600 or $800, 1,000. Did I say 800,000? Basically, it's just on the other side of trying to make $1. You see, the way you asked the question, you thought I was going to say $42 million is fuck you money. But if you can't see that $42 is fuck you money, you don't fuck and you don't have money. You don't have fuck or money, and you don't have you. You have a shelter version of you. But do you see why this is a turnaround of you incorporated? because you don't have fuck and you don't have money. You barely have you. Smoke less pot. There you go. Forget about trying to make $1. That might be impossible for you. But if you do somehow make $1, this is how you would make $1. Who will pay me $1 to summarize Larry Chang's 15 questions? Because what happened when you made $1 million? That's a question. Did you lose? How did you lose the $1 million after you made it? Second to last question, who is your mentor? Because if the guy, remember, these are questions for women and how to marry a rich guy. If they can't answer the question, who's your mentor, or they hesitate, or they say, I'm just a generalist. Basically, they're saying that their daddy issues have fucked them up and they have no mentor. And because they hold grudges against their father, they're stuck and they'll never have a mentor. And if they do get a mentor, they're definitely not going to buy their mentor a Porsche. Hey, you helped me make $180 million. Here's a Porsche. Is this Meek Mill giving is this Meek Mill giving Tom Brady's ex-owner, RKK, Mr. Kraft, the dude who's sponsoring me to own a football team, I brain farted on. Why? Because he's a young man. He's a young man. Which is who buys their mentor a car? Who buys their mentor a car? That would be not you. That would be not you. And that's okay, because guys like me die in a Porsche. Plus, maybe you don't know this, but I am Andrew Luck's exact measurements with as much arm talent without the shoulder injuries. But hey, Andrew Luck, since this is going into Gemini 3, day 52, day 52 of the 55 days of Gemini 3 at SF Super Bowl. Alleged GSB attendee who's only going to be looking forward to classes at the design school, BJ Fogg, who is this. Last question. What makes you fun and successful? BJ Fogg, design school. So here's the problem that you're solving. And you've been very patient because I've talked a lot. The problem that you're solving is Stanford GSB, it got super woke by trying to help everybody succeed. GSB second years, they're going to be experiencing a bankruptcy rate. This is what they don't teach you at Stanford GSB that they used to teach you at Stanford GSB. I'm not going to say that Stanford peaked. It's number one by 3 furlongs. If you don't know what a furlong is, think Kentucky Derby. No hat, Larry. Yeah. I want to see your hair. Give the ladies what they want. Give the ladies what they want. Fifth edition, edition number 5. Edition number 5, Stram GT 353. All the questions that you're asking are all leading towards bankruptcy. All of them. All of them. All of them. They're all leading towards bankruptcy. They're all leading towards bankruptcy. They're all leading towards bankruptcy. Bankruptcy question number 1. Larry, how do I find the right mentors? Bankruptcy. Larry, what motivates you? Question mark. Bankruptcy. Larry, what do you enjoy outside of work financials? Question mark. Bankruptcy. I'm not telling you that you're going to go bankrupt. I'm telling you that your questions are all leading towards bankruptcy because you're not expanding on a prior, you're being the prototypical GSB student before you even are at GSB. So when you go on those free vacations, because fuck around and get a free vacation, that's called 2 years of GSB. Can you repeat your phone number? 650-283-8008. It's everywhere. Larry is going to pay our PF Chang's tab. You're going to get me a PF Chang's at 655 El Camino. Oh my God, thank you. 665 El Camino. That would be the PF Chang's by Stanford GSB. Oh my God. Say thank you because let's go. Stop with the ASU slander. Just stop. Say Shelby Sapp is my mommy and do what Shelby Sapp would do. What would Shelby Sapp do? She would make money because your chapter number, your hashtag is hashtag CHA11SXP. That's fuck you money because you can't make $8. You can't make $8, dude. If you make $8, next step, 80K. But you're at zero. You see, you don't see. Zero has the largest gravitational pull because when you go to Stanford, you're underwater financially. When you owe, you're going to take a job just to be a product manager. So, I'm going to DJ up some amazing things. We're still on the base layer. It doesn't matter if you just joined. It doesn't matter if you're not Stanford inbound. This is all true and all incredibly useful. Stanford GSB is taught at the 7th grade level. I went ahead and concocted a PM product manager. The reason it routes through PM is that's what the best of the best Stanford GSBs go do right now is product management. Before you say, I don't want to be a PM, I want to be a PM. Because you're thinking portfolio manager for a private equity fund, that's also a PM. I'm saying PM, which is you want to be a product manager, portfolio manager doing hashtag StreamGT353. This is why you are a turnaround expert. You're turning around a class that is problematic. What's the problem with it? The problem with Stanford GSB and HBS 6534 and StreamGT 353 and Wharton, entrepreneurship via acquisition. See, this is what I do for fun, and you asked me if I had something that I didn't do other than make money. Money is my passion. Money is my hobby. Your 3 questions mean you don't care about this game as much as I care about it. That's why some retard from the University of Illinois, well outside the top 300, kicking ass at Stanford University. You asked me what my hobbies were? It's being 70 times smarter than a Stanford GSB D school or B school prof. Why? Because I caught him making a mistake. The mistake was, let's dumb down StreamGT 353. Wharton, Harvard, Stanford. It has a class, it's called Search Fund. This is how Search Fund was started. This is why Irv Grosbeck taught it, the 5th edition of the textbook. It got worse to the 6th edition of New Venture Creation and the Entrepreneur. If you do not buy this book before business school, you're going to be screwed. Why? Because how many people are in your entry class? Only 30 people get to take this watered down version called Strategic Management 353 with Irv Grausbeck. This is the original class. The original class, it wasn't woke. This is the original class. Everything will make sense to you. You see, when you go to Stanford, Harvard, you're expected to be the best of the best of the best of the best. I don't know how you got rejected by Harvard and Wharton. You are a special snowflake in special danger because you have some woke thing that got you in and you're going to just hurl all over this. Why? Because I've already caught you vomiting a little bit in your mouth. You questioned whether or not I'm heterosexual and Caucasian. You questioned it. You questioned it. As a woman, I'm not down with that. I know, I know. I'm the only male speaker of Stanford Women in Business. Oops. Was I a woman then or a man? This is why these jokes are amazing and fit for a Caucasian. Why? Because the class STRAM GT 353, this is how it used to be. Stanford, not best of the best. Harvard, number one at the time. Wharton, wanting to be number one. This is why there is clearly $4 million right fucking there, okay? All you need is a 7th grade education and a Wi-Fi connection. This is what it is in a nutshell. It's, can you fundraise $150 million and then buy a business for $100 to $130 million? If this number seems too high in 2026, imagine how high it felt when it was 2009, 2008, 2005. Because back then, $150 million, that shit was real. Now, if you can't fundraise $100 million, you're fake and you're gay and you're probably retarded too. Because the money, that shit's literally free right now. Here's the thing, is some skin colors can't raise money because, I mean, this is just true. People realized that some people were getting into Stanford because of their skin color. Maybe that's controversial, but the National Associations of Attorneys General have already made a ruling on it. If you fight that, then you're stuck, because this is why I identify as a Caucasian person, because Chinese people are not allowed to attend college, especially at Stanford, unless we play 2 revenue sports in the year 2046. I'm not going to repeat that because it's just true. Because I don't want to go to a college where it's 80% Chinese people. That's what Stanford would be if it were not race dependent. This is how to financially benefit, because this is how the class used to be. The class used to be, you fundraise $150 million. You go buy a business for 9 figures, aka 120 mil. You use the 30 to operate. This is Irv Grausbeck. This is why it's called a search fund. You start a fund because you're Stanford, Harvard, maybe Wharton, but not really, which is why Wharton didn't call it a search fund. Wharton called it entrepreneurship via acquisition because Wharton loves minority people who hustle. They love Georgia Tech undergrad. They love that shit. They love the brown, not heroin. They love brown people. And that's what catapulted Wharton is entrepreneurship via acquisition. This is what they don't teach you at Stanford that they used to teach you at Stanford, which is the fundamentals for a search fund, which is you fundraise 9 figures and then you operate. This is PE as a managing partner. This is PE where the VC is the operator, the operations manager. This is operation experience. This is why engineers who go to MBA school, they're doing OR, operations research, via control systems, where you're able to fundraise because you're an engineer. And oh, by the way, this is my calling card, HBS GSB. Have you ever met a quad admit? Because a dual admit is kind of the floor, which is, yeah, I got into Harvard and Stanford. A quad admit is Stanford Law School, Stanford Business School, Harvard Business School, Harvard Law School. That's a quad admit. That's, I got into all 4 schools. What you're needing with the law school crossover is you can't delegate your legal fully to an attorney. Why? Because you're running an external API. This is where you have to get on board with Harvard Law School, Larry Lessig, Harvard Law School, Tom Campbell, but is at Stanford Law, but now he's provost at Chapman University. So what you're doing is you're running an external API by setting aside your need to fundraise 9 figures. I gave this to Stanford for free, thinking that, oh my God, this solves your woke problem, because who is the person who instituted slap a blonde female and sell the company for $1 billion? That would be Larry Chang, because I'm the guy who started all that woke shit. I didn't think it would go the direction that it did. That's why I turned around Silicon Valley Gay Mafia. That's why I turned around the LGBTQ TT. Why? Because slapping a blonde on it and calling it a unicorn, that is right out of the book of Larry Chang, which is layer 2 of venture capital, slap a stuffed animal on it and make it slay. So, turning around Stanford while exposing the 4 layers of venture capital. There's 4 layers of venture capital. Ed Chen, Bruce Wang, Larry Chang run this protocol. There are 4 layers of venture capital. John Teo, Tim Chang, Larry Chang. Don't blame them. Give them credit where it's good. And if you fail doing it, that's my fault. Here are the 4 layers of venture capital as it applies to STRAM GT 353. 1, you don't need money to make money because layer 0 is LinkedIn. This is not a Fernando Mendoza joke, but it kind of is. Layer 0 is LinkedIn. The book is New Venture Creation, Entrepreneur Irv Grousbeck. IRV Grousbeck, Grousbeck, New Ventures and the Entrepreneur. It's STRAM GT 353. You question whether or not I was Caucasian, dude. Just say, sorry, I didn't know that you're the whitest of white guys ever. Okay? Right. I applied as Caucasian all my life. Well, there you go. Aren't Persians Caucasians anyway, motherfucker? Fuck, dude. I applied to Carnegie Mellon because I didn't get accepted. Wonder if I dropped Larry Chang's name. That would be no. And no, I'm not writing you a recommendation letter. Let's focus. Layer 0 venture capital, LinkedIn. Layer 1 is the calendar. Remember, today's day 52 of hashtag 55 days of Gemini 3 at SF Super Bowl. Layer 2 is slap a blonde on it and make it slay. Lisa Falzone. I'm betting 1,000 when it comes to blonde billionaires. But that somehow became politically incorrect. So if you're going to call me not woke as a lesbian, hello, I have a vagina. It's just an inside out penis on the outside part of my body. I can get a lady boner. It's pretty big. Layer 2 of venture capital is slap a stuffed animal on it and make it slay. Why? Because it turns out 5 of these guys, 5 starfish, this is Palm Pals. You should be able to make $4 million with 5 stuffed animals and a used textbook for less than $5. Why? Stanford made a mistake that you can capitalize on while helping Stanford be number one by further. But here's the problem. Stanford's number one right now by a country mile, and it got lazy. This is why it won't change. This is the bad change that it made. You can shoot the messenger because you trying to shoot the messenger will only make you look like a person who's shooting the person with number one knowledge of Stanford entrepreneurship. This is what I'm talking about. Harvard and Stanford, they both made the same mistake. Here's the mistake that they made. Here's the problem. If you can solve this problem and you only make $4 million, you are a fucking retard. Enjoy being a single-digit millionaire. Enjoy being a single-digit millionaire who fucked up. Enjoy not giving me a Rolex. I don't even want your poverty Rolex. I'm never going to open the box. Here's the problem, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's the funniest problem. It's so funny. $150 million, but I go to Stanford. I'm owed $275,000. I'm here because of some DEI shit, okay? And I can't fundraise that much money. Can you lower the bar? Harvard, Stanford said, yeah, we've heard you. We can lower the bar. It's not, can you do this for another class, Larry? This is the flagship class. This class should make you a millionaire by year number 2. But even saying that, it's unpopular. I don't get it. Like, you're paying basically $1 million. Like, if you make 300 grand and you're paying 300 grand, you just lost $1 million. Does that make any sense to people? Like, I can't say million. I can't say million. What motherfucker doesn't make 300 grand to get into Stanford? Because Stanford right now is pretty much only taking 3, 4, and 500K people, except for the social workers because they're DEI. This is what's going on, is instead of $150 million, why can't we just have students fundraise $1.5 million and buy a business? Thank you for the super chat. 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 You're helping me help yourself. Like, you're trying to help me. I don't need help. Look at me, okay? Do I look like I need help? I need you to help you. I need you to help you. I need you to help you. you have wrench envy and you're calling people trolls. You're not trolling other people. Oops, you did. You're trolling yourself because you have wrench envy. This is your brain on Web 2. This is your brain on Web 12. Because 1.5 mil is not easier than 150 mil. It turns out $150 million is actually easier to raise. Let me repeat that. Clip! 150 mil is actually easier to raise than 1.5 because this is what happens when you raise 1.5. You buy a business for 1.5, give or take $3 million. Clip. That's a video clip. Why? Because you buying a shitty business for less than 5 mil, that shit's about to go bankrupt. Have you heard don't date threes that are obese because they're obese and they're threes? This is why you don't date an obese three. Is underneath one of the folds, there's going to be a sore. And that sore, it's not a bed sore or a sore. That's an STD in one of the folds. Have you heard that you never trade your dog for a cat with fleas? Oh, no. This video is entirely right because these are the questions to ask to make sure that who you're talking to is going to be rich. Because this is funny shit I saw. Because there is nothing more funny than a video on StramGT 353 that's thinking that 1.5 is easier than 150. This is funny videos. This is funny shit that I saw on the internet. Thank you. If I could double mod you, I would remod you. But thank you. The reason that this is funny is 1.5 is the danger zone. This is also why 1.5 mil is funny. Because in trying to be inclusive to everybody who takes that class is going to go bankrupt. Why? Because when you buy a business for $1.5 million, it is incredibly problematic. Because you think you're buying a business for 1.5 mil, you're actually buying $4 million in liability. You just don't do due dil. Here's the other thing, is that when you're buying a business for $1.5 million, you're basically buying a hotel that's a motel. And instead of going to Harvard, Stanford, or Wharton, and this is how you know I know a little too much about Search Fund, is Indian people. Have you heard that Indian people, they really like to buy hotels or motels? So the motels that are purchased, you paid $270,000 to learn what we Indian and Pakistani people teach each other. It's called how do I buy an Econo Lodge and not go bankrupt. That's Search Fund. That's StramGT 353. You see, when you dumb it down and you try to be inclusive to everybody, this is a recipe for 80% of people who take that class are going to go bankrupt. Before the bankruptcy was 10, 15, 20% of the class, but half the class wouldn't raise $150 million. This is the route that Stanford should have taken. They just got angry that I got a little too popular. This is the route that you should have taken. This is hashtag SWE277P. What is SWE277P? It's Harbir Singh, no, that's Wharton. That's Hadar Ziv, class at UC Irvine. Software Engineering 277P. You should be lucky that you went to a top 20 school and studied your shitty industrial engineering or civil engineering. There's no way that you studied CS and weren't a dual admit. There's no way you studied CS. It doesn't matter. This is how STRAM GT 353 should have gone. This is what I paid $3 for. I paid $3 for Lecture 11 STRAM GT 353. What is Lecture 11, Larry? It's collateral, default, and rope to choke. Thank you. Hector's Waffle Motel with an M. Hector's Waffle Motel with an M. Because this is, if people really want to do search fund, this is how they do it. Because I did it with Hector's Waffle Motel. This is why it takes no money to make money. Because Hector's Waffle Motel, that was a joke franchise. That's your Chapter 11 hashtag CHA11SXP. So drop that hashtag or you're going in for a 24-hour timeout. Repeat it. Hashtag CHA11XP. That's your hashtag. If that hashtag does not appear in front of me in the next 3 minutes, you're getting timed out for either 24 hours or 24 days. Chapter 11, and then your name, SXP, in a hashtag. 3 minutes, the clock's running. What Hector's Waffle Motel is doing is you're doing a turnaround of a bankrupt entity that a bank is giving you for $0. Why? The bank is giving it to you because the bank does not want to turn around the hotel. Good, CHA11SXP. LC is not a thing. That's Dan Olson's book, by the way, Product Management. You see, you don't see. At Harvard, that's my safety school. At Harvard, I have a PhD thesis in business. You ask me what my hobbies are, it's called timing you out for 24 hours in 60 seconds. Hashtag CHA11SXP. You don't want to make this money. You can't help it. You're asking for a timeout. And it's going to hurt me much more than it hurts you. Hector's Waffle Motel. I was sitting in a lift and the guy's like, hey, welcome to my lift. I'm like, your car's really clean. Let me guess what you do outside of driving rideshare. He's like, okay. I'm like, you do something pretty well. He's like, yeah? I'm like, oh, you manage something. And he's like, yeah, I manage a hotel. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, are you an assistant GM? And he's like, yeah. Of a nice hotel, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what would you do to make $1 million? He's like, who the motherfucker are you? You're just in my rideshare. I'm like, seriously, what would you do to make $1 million? He's like, I don't know, win the lottery? Because that's my version of a fuck you tip, is I left you $1 million tip. Why? Because his name was fucking Hector, and he was really, really nice to me. Plus, he was vulnerable because he's like, yeah, I'm not making enough money managing a Hilton. I'm not making enough money, so I got to do this. It was fucking Friday. I'm getting goosebumps. It was fucking Friday. We're still talking about StramGT 353, by the way, because this is what Harvard's teaching right now, HBS 6534 Search Fund. If you don't buy this textbook and take yourself through lectures 1 through 20, fuck yourself in the fucking face. You should make $4 million before class starts. This is a side hustle. You're fucking welcome. You're fucking welcome. I'm stressed. You want to know what my hobbies are? I'm stressed doing this YouTube live. Not because you're going to fuck me out of one stainless Rolex, which I will never wear. I probably won't even regift it. I probably won't even open it. I'm stressed. I'm stressed because I don't know if you're going to make $4 million. I haven't gotten a text message from you yet. But you suck. Now I'm stressed. I'm stressed. You suck. And I gotta pee. Should I take you into the bathroom with me? I come back from bathroom bearing gifts. I come back from bathroom bearing gifts. I come back from bathroom bearing gifts, and I come back from bathroom banning people who love me. Smashing X Pumpkin was hidden by Larry Chang. Because here are some gifts. I tolerate you abusing me. I tolerate you being a fan. But what I don't tolerate is self-harm and self-fucking yourself. And if you, ladies, you can fuck yourself because I know that that's what you do with the bean flicking and dolphin flogging. Like, who even calls masturbation like that? What I don't tolerate is when you keep yourself from getting rich. I don't tolerate that because fuck you money. And maybe you only have one version of fuck you money. Obviously, I have more than 100 versions of fuck you money. I come back from toilet bearing gifts. This is a chicken, okay? This is a chicken. This is a book. It's written by Eric Jorgensen. It's detailing my friend Naval Ravikant. Maybe you don't think I'm friends with the Easter Bunny at Naval, but what you will know is that Naval Ravikant knows my first name and my last name. Ditto the Alchemist. Ditto the Alchemist. Why is the Alchemist brought back in triplicate? It's because over at Harvard, there are 5 books at my PhD thesis in business. It's called Cross the Chasm from the Right. Chasm crossing is so easy when the institution is trying to self-destruct itself. Have I told you that Search Fund is now how to buy a hotel by the highway? Because that's what you can buy for $1.5 million, in which case you're going bankrupt. This is one of the most valuable live streams you are doing. It just keeps getting better. less butt kissing in your new persona. You have a girl boy name, Rayon. Let's try to take the butt kissing and turn kissing butt near my crack to kissing your future bank account for $6. Because if you can't make $6 selling this as an article or CPM, there's something really wrong with you. Here's what you're getting. Here's what you're getting. Here's what you're getting when you spend $275,000. You're getting a job in product management. You're getting a job in product management because the thing that is going to make you $4 million, and you got to wonder, why do I have 3 copies of Dan Olson's book? The key to throwing book is you want to make sure it lands flat so you don't bend a corner. I smell vagina. Brady, do you have vagina over? What the fuck? There is vagina. Somebody's pumping vagina smell in here. It's kind of making me mad right now. Brady, what are you doing? Brady, do you smell vagina? Seriously. Five books, $4 million. If you don't make at least $4.5 million, something is seriously wrong with you before GSB. Mark McCormack, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. Alexander Ostrander, Business Model Generation. Jeffrey Moore, Cross the Chasm. Eric Ries, Lean Startup, which is really now Dan Olson, Product Management Handbook. And number 5 is Stephen Blank, 4 Steps to the Epiphany. Steve Blank, 4 Steps to the Epiphany. These are the textbooks that should be required in order to enter Stanford GSB. You take those books and you apply it to a cadaver. This is what I thought Stanford was going to do. I gave it to Stanford, and then they said, no. We want to help students buy a Econolodge. There is vagina everywhere. Like, it isn't just a little bit of vagina. If somebody pumped in vagina-scented poison, that's not the way to kill me. There is vagina everywhere right now. And I'm not allergic to vagina, but it's just weird because I'm in control of my own space. I smell vagina. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Stanford is not only taking 3 to 400K people because post-grad reported income is 250, 275. How would that make sense? It's the people that are making 50K that got woken that are dragging the average down. Okay. So let's make it as simple as possible that a 7th grader can understand from this point moving ahead. This is what I thought Stanford was going to do, because they could have done it. They just didn't do it because they didn't like the messenger. You can do Irv Grossbeck's original 150 mil class for $150 million. Why is it easier to DJ $150 million? This is why. I want to say an analogy, but the analogy is just going to confuse people. But let's bear with this analogy. To me, it makes it crystal clear. It's this truth, which is Caucasian women from upper middle class families that are blonde and really attractive, that subset of people is much easier to positively affect. And maybe that doesn't click with you, but for me, it absolutely does. Why? Because helping poor people get rich is an uphill battle of a lifeguard, which is another analogy that you might completely whiff on. Lifeguard. When you're saving a person, the first thing that a person does before you save them is they try to drown the lifeguard. That's what they teach you at lifeguard school, is that when you're saving a person who's drowning, they're not like, oh, cool, somebody's here to save me. They actually try to drown you. Because they're just flailing, and this is what happens when you don't have enough oxygen, is you're trying to use the lifeguard as a buoy. This is why it's counterintuitive. So it's also counterintuitive, but incredibly true, that rescuing a company currently worth $130 million is much, much, much easier because it doesn't have a shitstorm of shit that's buried with non-discoverable liabilities even via due diligence. Why? Because you have no idea what's in those folds. That's not a bed sore. That's a exotic STD that nobody's even got a name for. Why? Because the creature lives underwater. Have you seen creatures that live underwater 40,000 feet under the water? It doesn't even look like it's even on Earth anymore. That's what you're discovering when the shit is underwater. That's some PEVC phraseology, which is they're upside down, they're underwater. When something goes underwater, it's not even a mammal anymore. And yeah, I know dolphins and whales, but you should understand that I understand dolphins. They're the cunts of the world. Have you ever met a dolphin? It's the biggest cunt you've ever met. And don't even get me started about how rapey male dolphins are. Not raping me, but like, it's a dolphin. What I'm getting at is we want to be the sea turtles, where we're incredibly slow on land, but we can swim 60,000 miles in a year. That's not even an exaggeration. So this is the sea turtle, and excuse my temporarily becoming Chinese. Because what a sea turtle is at GSB is a person who spent $5 million because they're Chinese, they couldn't get in. So they really had to figure out a way to get in. That's your highest on the food chain, because GSB, if you go to class and it's not 80% Chinese people, know that they had to keep out a bunch of Chinese people in order to keep that dollar average below 275K. Because if you had in Chinese people, the average dollar would be like 800K. I know, it's unpopular to say. This is why it's 4 mil return on investment for Stanford before Stanford, lecture number 11. Grok 4 still has a copy of original STRAM GT 353 search fund. This is the direction I thought Stanford could go. You could help it go that direction and be heralded as the most genius person using Gemini 3. This is why I'm giving this to you as if I'm getting paid $14 million or $15 million. Just in case you're wondering, the vagina smell has gone, but that was not my imagination. I am doing this class fully sober, which is funny shit I saw on the internet. Dangerously low on green tea right now. But guess what? And got a starfish. He lights up. Ooh, and changes colors. Thank you for my starfish. Thank you for my starfish gift. All gifts can go to Duck 9, 2021 Midwest Road. I'll probably never open it. Suite 200, Oak Brook, Illinois. Oak like the tree, brook like the little river. 60521. If you want to creepily send it to me in Palo Alto, I recommend that you not. 125 University Avenue, Suite 100, Palo Alto, California, 94301. If you'd like to be a creepy dick, you can send it to 1435 Brickell, Miami, 33131. Brickell, brick like you shooting a three-pointer, ELL as in where sleuths live. And right next to Joe the Juice, Joe and the Juice. Joe and the Juice, also downtown Palo Alto. It's time to moderate your brain. Pinning your negativity, thank you, thank you. What's the last thing you invested in? I threw some time away because I tried to give some random dude $4 million, and he was like, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't want your money. I don't want your money. I want you to invest in me. What's the last thing you invested in? The last thing I invested in is the thing I'm trying to invest in right now, but it feels like my investment is going to zero. That would be an inbound GSB, never asking the right question. Never asking the right question. You never ask the right question. You never ask the right question. Damn, you living in Brickell? Is that supposed to be bad or good? Because the bang number, Larry, you're super hot for a Chinese guy. How much vagina are you taking down? 40 girls in your life? No, that would be about 1,600. By the river of pussy, I did not sit down and cry. By the river Piedra, I did not sit down and weep. Brokeback Mountain and residences. Give me example of a good question. And Brickell is good, obviously. Sometimes it's too good. Here's a good question, which is, Larry, should I try to make more than $4 million before I go to GSB? Because I get the feeling you're going to graduate GSB at a worse place than when you entered. Let me repeat that. I'm really good at reading trajectories, and you're going to be better off now than after you go. Don't get me wrong, you're going to take the free vacation to Paris. Oh my God, Larry, I got to go to Paris for free. The government paid. Oh my God, I got to go to Qatar, Kuwait, or some Middle Eastern hellhole, Beirut. Larry, the the Gaza, the West Bank. Brady, you okay in there, buddy? Brady, you having people over? Because I smell vagina. I get the feeling that you are going to be exactly where you are after you graduate than you are right now. Because your questions are empowering questions to ask. You don't ask any of them, which is, what's the last thing I invested in? The last thing I invested in was 100 minutes, not even under 100 minutes of STRAM GT 353. And the reason that you're asking me what VC investments I made is I'm going to say I did STRAM GT 353 for hashtag LABCS 3366. That would be Uber cab. That would be at 665 Night across the street at 641 campus. And so when you ask non sequitur diversifying questions, you are not in sequence. I have zero faith. I was right about the Caucasian dude who went to a shitty college, University of Florida, fucking Gainesville, not even in the top 600, barely D1 accredited. A half a step better than University of Kansas, imminently about to lose their 4-year college status because they're graduating too many people who are retarded. How much debt are you in? That would be negative debt, but thanking you for letting me know that you have a crap ton of debt. Thank you for letting me know that. Thank you for letting me know that. I do like how you regurgitate some things. Why don't, instead of you having scarcity mindset, what would it take for you? You know what? I'm not going to ask you that, because if I asked you that, you would think that I cared about you because you're trying to do damage. Tell me something, Timothy, tell me something that you see in the background, because it feels like all you do is say the same thing on rotation. You too, Tomato, tell me something that you see in the background, because I kind of get the feeling you are a robot saying random things. Because everything that you say is non sequitur, right? I'll wait for you. Tell me something that you see in the background. Tell me something that you see on screen. Am I wearing a hat? I knew it. I knew it. Dead internet theory. Let's benefit from dead internet theory, because 80% of the people that are here aren't actually people. And I realize some things. Questions to ask. When you don't want to solve a problem that your school has while simultaneously making money, you're going to try to be blue pill, which is, Larry, will you give me $2 million so I can make less than $1 million? And I don't mean to laugh at you, but that's what happens when you don't say, I have Alexander Ostrander's book, Business Model Generation, because you didn't write that book title down. You will never buy that book. You will never read that book, because your business model is, damn, you're living in Brickell, where you equate money in with money out. Or you didn't even think that I was rich. That's also another problem, is how can I be this competent with Stanford entrepreneurship education and not be massively rich, right? Do you not see that, or do you see that? So Let's pretend like this video just started and no one knows what I just talked about. This is going to unconfuse people. This is the solution. Problem. Stanford has a class. It used to be awesome. Problem. Harvard had the exact same class. It also used to be awesome. Now the class sucks. Cool. Thank you for your super chat. I think you're biased towards one set of mindset. I actually wrote down all the books and courses you recommended, but you don't believe that my biases is actually an actionable LP thesis, an actionable VC thesis. Because you're saying, oh, thank you for your insight, but I think that you feel biased towards a mindset, while not saying that my LP thesis or my VC thesis or my PE thesis is incorrect. And that's where this would have been better had you have said, oh my God, I'm paying $275,000 for this because I don't want any money and I don't want to thank you. I just want the entertainment of you hurled a little bit in your mouth because there was something that is your emotional blockage. And I don't mean to sound like your therapist, which you obviously have, but it's indicative of the fact that you don't want to jettison past your father. You're already feeling uncomfortable because you've jettisoned past your father in this trajectory, and your inner child wants to not succeed after going to Stanford. That's where I get the gut feeling that before Stanford, after GSB, you're going to be in exactly the same spot, which is actually impossible. Getting this back on track to basic truths. Harvard and Stanford, they're trying to make it too inclusive, but they could have made it too inclusive using my methodology of inclusion. What's my methodology for inclusion? It's 2 words, #external API. This is what Irv Grousbeck's chapter 17 in edition number 5, chapter number 17, lecture number 11. What do I have to fix in order to definitively not be in the same spot based on your wisdom? It's what I just said because you don't care, and this is me helping the next Caucasian up. In sports, we call it next player up because you're mentally injured. You've politely said, fuck off. And I quote, Larry, thank you for your insight, but I feel you are biased towards one type of mindset. Oh, you mean the money fucking making one? Oh, accountability in making money? Because this problem is 360. It's just the one class because it's the pinnacle. It's the pentultimate. It's literally the flagship class, but Stanford, it already is a flagship school. This is why a random shit college called Indiana University somehow became better at Stanford football than Stanford football. Think about getting out Stanford footballed. It happened at a school with no engineering program. Because, I repeat, Larry, thank you for your insight, but I feel you are biased towards one type of mindset, which is profitability and accountability. I actually wrote down all the books and courses that you recommended, but you're not going to study the books and courses with the express intention of trying to make $4 million. Here's the problem is someone's paying for you to go to college because you're not feeling like, oh my God, Larry, should I even go to Stanford? I'm going to miss out on making 400 grand and I'm going to have to pay 300 grand. Like, that's a shitty trade-off. Because also you didn't say this genius question, which is, Larry, based on what you told me, I'm going to go to Stanford 1 year and then quit and then be an alum. because all these things are genius things that you could have asked. That's the Jeremy Stoppelman, University of Illinois. How do I go to Harvard for 1 year and then turn around? Zagat's doing Yelp. Yeah, what you said is genius. It's very top 5 college. But and it's fine because I'm just a random person that you met on the internet. No, my mindset does not have to do with your financial viewpoint. I meant that you make too many assumptions based on nothing and then use them as foundations to build off of. Here's an assumption that's not an assumption, which is if I got given Irv Grossbeck or Larry Chang's cell phone number, 650-283-8008, I would have texted it already where I would have been furiously taking notes. But this is the problem with free Vice, which is why it's next player up, which is the next Caucasian dude who's going to be like, oh my God, I am going to solve that problem. This is the problem that we're solving, is software ate the world, but the business school is pretending like venture capital still matters. You asked the question, which was, you're going to be in the exact same position after GSB, which is, Larry, what was the last money investment that you made? Because I'm currently making an investment right now. It's going horribly. It's called Let's Turn Around a Person About to Spend $300,000 because they currently make $300,000. That's my investment. It's not going so well. But the reason I moved from failure to failure with such great enthusiasm is somebody's going to benefit from this. HBS 6534 search fund connected to UC Irvine SWE277P, hashtag SWE277P. When you don't send a text message to the BAT phone, 650-283-8008, you're definitely not going to explore UC Irvine Hadar Ziv's class, which is, Larry, what do I have to fix in order to definitively not be in the same spot based on your wisdom? You have to fix nothing and you have to fix everything. Why won't you fix a class? Because you hesitated. You don't even know why you're going to GSB. And that's not an assumption, because everything where I asked you, everything that you said was in the design school. How do I know this? Because Stanford BJ Fogg runs the design school, BJ Fogg. BJ as in Bojangles, Fog as in San Francisco fog. No, my mindset does not have to do with your financial viewpoint. I meant that you make too many assumptions based on nothing and then use them as foundations to build off of. I'm not going to quote Malcolm Gladwell with Blink, but this video should age nicely because I'm going to put it behind a wall, but at Duck9, www.duck9.com, where you can't click to it from YouTube, but you will be able to search it if you type in funny video I saw on YouTube, funny videos I saw January 21, day 52, hashtag 55 days of Gemini 3 at SF Super Bowl. I keep failing to get off $0. This is what they don't teach you at Stanford GSB, is look at how hard I'm trying to get a person off of $0. This is why at the end of GSB, you're going to be like, oh my God, I got to do all that same work anyway? Pretty much. Why is this so easy to me and so difficult for other people? Because you haven't looked up my HBS, Harvard Business School PhD thesis called The Fifth Epiphany, Cross the Chasm from the Right. You haven't looked it up. You haven't posted it in the chat. You don't think that that affects you. You're not going to read those 5 books with the burning question, which is, how do these 5 books tie into UC Irvine solving SWE 277P, solving Stanford engineering, Peter Thiel's clusterfuck of a pansexual neurodivergent? I don't want to know if you self-select as homosexual. I don't want to know. But you're telling me that you are of the community because of Peter Thiel vibes, which is the vibration of Sam Altman to Reid Hoffman to Larry Chang. Is this CS183, CS183B, Sam Altman, CS183C, Reid Hoffman, CS183D, not Larry Chang, CS183E in triplicate? Why did Stanford skip D, distribution? It's the same thing, is there's accountability in the D in distribution. There's accountability in, can you get one stranger to pay you $5? Because if you can't get one person to do a minuscule transaction, or can you sell one thing on eBay? That pretty much gets people over the hump, because you've never watched a video or read a book and made $1, or in my case, $180 million. Because it turns out you don't need money to make money. That's where I thought Stream GT 353 was going. You keep the level at 150 mil, but then you turn companies around running an external API. This is a point where we can just play a game. The reason I know Roelof Botha was he used to be you, but instead of the crappy questions that you ask, he would ask genius questions. And then I said, you should be a VC. And he's like, ha 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 ha, okay. And then every time I talk to him, he remembers the shit that I used to say, and then he would get better. And then when he added me on LinkedIn, I was like, I'm gonna do the ultimate douchebag thing, because what are the 4 layers to venture capital? It's layer 3 and layer 0. Because you asking me a question of, hey, how do you know Roelof Botha, is you trying to add me on LinkedIn. So I told you all this genius stuff, and what do? You're like, I want to try to see if we can be Bumble best friends, which is, I'm using LinkedIn as my dating app, because that's how I know that you're asking about Roelof Botha, which is, you're asking me about my one LinkedIn contact, because you still haven't texted me. I haven't even looked at my phone. How do I know that you haven't texted me? It's not that I want your text message. It's that that's what you're going to do. And I don't want to know why. And don't tell me about your father relationship, but that shit was spot on, and you're not being honest about it. Okay, for everybody, this is an external API. The magic trick that I'm doing with fortune telling, you don't type in Larry Chang for the thesis, because HBS hurled. It's Cross the Chasm from the Right, Harbus, Harbus. Harbus, Harvard. Harbus. Cross the Chasm from the Right. Mr. Peabody. And this is not a conspiracy theory for search, because when you type in Larry Chang Harvard, the reason it got buried is not because of my friends Matt Cutts or Danny Sullivan, which is the search czar. I understand search engine optimization, but I also caught Google. I also caught Google because the woke mind virus, it kind of went everywhere. Because if you're typing in Larry Chang Harvard and you can't find it, there's a reason you can't find it, is Harvard's trying to bury it. That's good feedback, because if you're not getting edited, if you're not getting mitigated, you're not important enough, because that definitively solves financial death worldwide. Let me repeat that. My bringing in Mr. Peabody. So let's say you don't know who Mr. Peabody is. Mr. Peabody is a dog. This dog is a genius. This actually applies to funny shit I saw on the internet. Because Mr. Peabody is funny because he's a dog that teaches at Harvard, and he adopts a human that's an orphan named Sherman. It's funny because he has something that he uses to become the smartest dog, smartest human on the planet, even though he's a dog. It's something called the Wayback Machine. Are you familiar with the Wayback Machine? There is such a thing. It's called the Wayback Machine. It's also kind of woke, but that's just how technology is. So the Wayback Machine in Mr. Peabody is WABAC. So it's a cartoon series about a dog that goes back in time, and then he invents stuff because he connects with George Washington, with Henry David Lodge's book. So he travels back in time, and it's a cartoon series about this dog that travels in time. They made a movie, Mr. Peabody. Everyone thought that the movie was going to flop. What I did with the movie, you asked me what I invest in. So I invested 2 giggles and 1 shit into making sure that that movie opened higher than expectations. Ditto Silent Night, Deadly Night. Ditto Brokeback Mountain and Residences. Because these jokes, they're my hobby, because you can't just talk about entrepreneurship without having a little bit of humor, because talking about death, bankruptcy, and when people are financially under duress, they're 10 times more likely to die. It's kind of sad. It's also my practice to help people get off of zero. I'm an expert at Stanford Entrepreneurship. Why? Because I solved the problem, which is, can you get off of $0? It turns out most people, they die at $0. Venture capital is not getting off of $0. Venture capital is you mortgaging your dog to get stock. Venture capital, all it is a mortgage where the note holder, they could fire you. Mr. Peabody, when you cross the chasm from the right, you're doing such simple things as food for lead gen. You see, what we're talking about is intrinsic to all of this, 200 plus minutes. What it is it's an external API, meaning I don't have a degree from Stanford, yet how do I talk American-born Chinese guy talk, which is, I am number 1 in entrepreneurship understanding of Stanford entrepreneurship content. I don't want to say that because it's true. I don't want that to be true. It should be somebody else. But this is why it is true temporarily and permanently. because the the dollar zero, the chasing zeros, everybody who talks about entrepreneurship or venture capital or private equity, what they never have an answer for is zero, $0. That's what no one has the answer for. Question: if you knew that being rich involved getting started, why do you refuse to get off of zero? Here is the painful truth. This is a problem. The problem is that all of startup education and entrepreneurship education, it's basically from $2 million to $500 million. They'll call NVIDIA, Jensen Huang's company, they'll call that shit a startup. That company is worth more than entire European countries. And you're calling that a startup? This is why gossip about startups happens at the $2 million level. At the sub $1.5 million level or the sub 1.5K level, it is so painful to talk about it that people don't even talk about it. Let me repeat that because that's a clip. Entrepreneurship. Your company, your venture firm, it would be so much more successful if you were to do hashtag CS183D as in distribution. Can you sell 20 customers? This is why there are 3 institutions of Silicon Valley. That would be Y Combinator, the deer in the headlights. You see that deer in the headlights? That's Y Combinator. It's super pretty, and it's pretty woke, and it's just super pretty. And then it talks some YC shit. Here's an example, which is talking the YC shit, which is YC. It's the most interesting thing that you will ever do. What? That is some Ivy League trash talk. Stanford University, institution number 3, maybe number 2, institution number 3 or 2, which is this. Stanford has been number 1 for so long that Stanford now has gotten lazy. Plus, it's benefited from the fact that other schools are so woke. This is the problem when you are not trying to do what Wharton did to become number 1. True story, Wharton went from Trump's college, top 30, to number 1. How and why? By setting a bell curve, not for grades and for grades, but setting a bell curve for money. Meaning, how much money did you make coming in? How much money did you make after you graduated? The larger the delta, the bigger the improvement, the better your business school is. This is why you know about exactly dollars for Stanford GSB. You know about those dollars. Why? Because that's all that matters. Because here's the thing that you don't understand is that you're going to college for 2 years just to be a product manager. Because Wall Street and consulting gigs, that shit literally died on the vine. And AI, it's coming, it came, and business schools, they're having a hard time with an API. Forget about AI. They're having a hard time with an API because that's just what schools did. Schools exist in a bubble. And I'm not going to say that Stanford's a bubble because it's the best bubble. It's the number 1 school by far. And when you start to say, I don't want the best of the best, I want something that is skin color appropriate. Why am I getting penalized because I'm a tall Caucasian man? Why am I getting penalized? This is why comedy, it's required, because Stram GT 353. This is how random University of Illinois is. This is why Stanford used to be wired the way it was, which is, oh my God, this person came up with an innovation. What innovation did I come up with? Why did I reach out to Irv Grousbeck? I didn't know that Irv Grousbeck was still alive because I used his book. I never thought to connect. This is the letter that I sent over email or text or smoke signals. It went like this. Irv Grousbeck, I can't believe you're still alive. You're literally a living legend. Chapter 17, it's amazing. Lecture 11, it's actually not the best. Is it okay, since your lecture 11 isn't your best, but all the other 20 lectures are amazing? Is it okay if I come and learn from you is it okay if I learn from you in person? Because Ali, not once did you say that you were going to take Stram GT 353 before you took Stram GT 353. Because you're doing the typical GSB, HBS, entitled student thing, which is you're going to show up and there are going to be so many parties and so much vagina flying around that you're not going to remember why you paid $275,000. You're not going to remember that because it is going to be a parade of hot vagina throwing themselves on you. Why? Because that's what business school is, baby. It's a 2-year party. I know. It's going to be an amazing 2-year party. And being a normal human, you're going to get swept up. This is not where I re-show you the book that I brought when I came back from the pisser, which is Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. Because all the things that you're hoping to get at GSB, you already got. All those things, they're going to be waiting for you after you graduate GSB, now under the gun of, I need to make all my classmates jealous with the job that I have, and now you're going to go be a PM at your salary level plus 30K, or your salary level minus 30K, because AI, it ate your lunch, and your PM skills, the GSB isn't going to automatically signal that you're a great PM, a product manager. Maybe as a portfolio manager, but guess what? They're not paying $2 million bonuses to run a portfolio right now. Why? Because there is so much fraud in pension funds. Is this you warning CalPERS? It is if you ran an external API via the class. I don't know if I've mentioned you the class number before. It's called #StramGT353. The reason that this class is pivotal green tea is delicious. The reason this class is pivotal is because there is no more perfect of a class that has been the #1 best class. Here's another problem. How many people are in your class? Let's say it's 300. It's more than that, but let's say it's 300. 200 people are going to apply to get in that class. Only 55 people are going to actually get into that class. Do you get how you got into Stanford? but you're not going to be able to apply to get into that class. And do you see the catch 22 nature of I did not pay to go, yet I know this class and I'm telling you to study before you even go, but you're saying, oh, you have some methodologies that cause you to have a certain philosophy with certain assumptions, blah, blah, blah. Whereas you could have just said, no, bro, I'm too lazy. I don't want to pre study business school before I go to business school. This is why you Chinese people are so good at math class. I figured it out. Me and Dickie the Duck. Have you met Dickie the Duck? He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a special guest. The reason that you Chinese people are amazing is because you take math class before math class. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking a business school class before business school. This video is about funny shit that I saw on the internet. There's nothing more funny than being able to take a class online before taking the class in person. Because then you're going to show up with money in hand and say, look, I already took this class on Steve Chen and Chad Hurley's website. I took it already. Wait a minute. What psychopath takes math class before math class? The same kind of psychopath that takes ground balls for infield practice before a real ground ball comes during the game. That's what I think is hilarious, which is, can you warm up and take jumpers before you shoot jumpers? Right? How do you do it? Look at all those retracted messages. That's amazing. That's amazing. The reason retracted messages are indicative of trajectory is that's what happens when you edit yourself and you're hesitant with yourself, and it's a it's a it's a form of constipation where you're trying to be perfect. You're not viewing life as a practice. You're trying to be perfect, and you're constantly in analysis. Look at all those retractions. Gopinder. Did you guys have a good time tonight? I had a great time. I had a great time. Do you have any questions for me? What questions do you have for me? If you're not a robot, comment something that you see on screen.